Chapter 1408. The team from the capital planet arrived late after Sheng dealt with the pirates. They even looked like they were late, and it was hard on Master Shi. The 6 families all sent people to greet him. These people didn't say anything when there was trouble, but when it was over, they ran over. Sheng couldn't be bothered with them. He asked Shifeng to send them away and didn't want to see anyone. The group of people felt guilty and didn't dare to say anything. They left their things and left with their people. Master Ji, Master Yin and Master Jin have sent you an invitation. Shifeng's voice came from the screen. Feng Xi rolled over unhappily and wrapped himself in the blanket. Sheng glanced at him and lowered the volume. When did they come? They didn't come in person. They just arrived today. What's the matter? I don't know. The 3 masters said they must see you or they won't leave. Shifeng relayed the 3's words. If they won't leave, throw them out. They were trying to please her for no reason. They definitely didn't have good intentions. She was determined not to see them. Shifeng paused for a moment, as if he was shocked, but he quickly responded, this subordinate understands. It was just throwing a master. It wasn't a big deal. Thinking about all the shameless things the masters had done, this was nothing. Shifeng led the Zhanlong guards to chase the 3 masters out of the blue planet, and set up a ban on entering the blue planet. The 3 masters. It was harder to see a person than His Majesty. Why didn't she go to heaven? His Majesty the mascot. What did it have to do with him? Sheng waited for Feng Xi to wake up and took him out for a ride. There weren't many people on the blue planet. Those who could enter the blue planet were mostly the relatives of the Zhanlong guards, some businessmen, and some brainless fans that Sheng let in because he was in a good mood. The rest were the branches of the Shi family that had developed over the years. Sheng brought Feng Xi along as they walked down the street. Most people recognized this new madam of the clan head. He looks better in person than on the live broadcast. He looks so good when he smiles. I'm cured instantly. I'm not smiling at you. Why are you so agitated? Even if he's not smiling at me, it can't stop my maiden heart. Be careful of that person talking to you about life. As soon as he said this, the excited girls calmed down. That was that person's legal partner. If she really talked to them about life, they would be finished. Indeed, beautiful things could only be viewed from afar and could not be profaned. What is this? Feng Xi pointed at a transparent display on the side of the street. There were many cages inside, and inside the cages were many strange creatures. Sheng brought him in, and the shopkeeper immediately came out to greet him with a big smile. Master. The shopkeeper was very nervous. Why did this little ancestor come to his place? It was going to kill him. Feng Xi stood in front of a cage. The shop owner glanced at Feng Xi, then glanced at the Sheng. Then he stepped forward and introduced, Young Master, this is the Frost Qilin beast. It comes from planet T673 in the Red Moon Galaxy. Its scales are very useful. The Frost Qilin beast in the cage looked like a puppy, but its body was not covered in fur. Instead, it was covered in silver-white scales. It looked as if it was covered in cold air. It lay in the cage and looked at Feng Xi with a weak expression. Can I touch it? Feng Xi turned his head and asked. Young Master, I'm afraid you can't. The Frost Qilin beast can hurt people, the shopkeeper explained. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Open the cage. Master? Sheng looked over calmly. The shopkeeper was immediately terrified. He stepped forward and opened the cage with trembling hands. As soon as the cage was opened, the shopkeeper dodged to the side and watched as the young man carried the Frost Qilin beast out. The Frost Qilin beast could not resist at all in the young man's hands, let alone hurt him. The shopkeeper stared at the young man, as if he had seen a ghost. Where did this person come from? On second thought, if he could be with the master, he must not be a good person. Just as the shopkeeper was about to raise the Frost Qilin beast because the young man liked it, the Frost Qilin beast in the young man's hands suddenly started to struggle. Its scales lost their luster and became dimmer. When the young man let go, the Frost Qilin beast had already lost its vitality. The shopkeeper. Oh my God. Feng Xi put down the Frost Qilin beast and turned to look at Sheng. Shisheng looked at him calmly. There was no doubt or anger in his eyes. Do you still have the Frostchelan beast? She suddenly turned to ask the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper was startled and quickly nodded. Yes, yes. The goods were just delivered a few days ago. It's in the warehouse at the back. I'll send someone to get it now. Shisheng took out a card and swiped it at the counter. He quickly tapped on it. Send it to the villa. Yes. Shisheng pulled Feng Xiai out of the shop. His hand was colder than before. Aren't you going to ask why? Feng Xiai held her hand. He sounded a little upset. Why? Shisheng asked cooperatively. The energy in its body makes me feel very comfortable. Feng Xiai smiled. Ever since he came to this world, the energy in his body was a little out of control. He always wanted to release it. This was probably what she meant when she said that the laws of this world were different. However, the power of the little beast had allowed him to calm down the restlessness in his body after he had absorbed it. The Frostchelan beast is not hard to find. I'll get the Zhanlong guards to prepare it for you when we get back. Feng Xiai narrowed his eyes and smiled innocently. His face was shining brightly like the stars. Everyone around him seemed to feel the light of Buddha shining on them. Feng Xiai wanted to buy something that he had never seen before. He didn't know what it was for, but he just wanted to buy it. Shisheng was in charge of paying the bill at the back. As expected, the attribute of spending her money was not fake. However, when Feng Xiai stood in front of a mecha flagship store, Shisheng couldn't help but twitch his mouth. What are you buying this for? I've never driven it before, Feng Xiai answered seriously. Can I go up? The shop assistant next to him stood there in fear. You want to go up when you've never driven it before? Are you looking for death? Of course, the shop assistant didn't dare to say this. He could only look at Shisheng and hope that he could stop this suicidal partner of hers. However, under his gaze, Shisheng nodded. Sure. The shop assistant. WTF? Master Sure. Is this really your biological partner? He didn't know the requirements to drive this thing, but how could you not know? In order to drive a normal mecha, one's spiritual power and physical skills had to be at least A+. Even if one met these requirements, they still needed a long period of training to be able to operate a mecha. The young man in front of him was as fragile as a flower without a stem. No matter how he looked at it, he didn't look like someone who had reached A+ in both spiritual power and physical skills. However, no matter how much the shop assistant roared in his heart, Shisheng still allowed the unbelievably beautiful young man to get into the mecha. The shop assistant was in despair. Seeing Shisheng jump down after a while, he asked in horror, Master Sure, aren't you going up? Shisheng replied, he wants to drive it himself. The shop assistant. He must not be awake today. Chapter 1409. When the shop assistant saw how the mecha was wobbly at the beginning, and how smoothly it completed a series of difficult maneuvers, he felt like he was still dreaming. Never piloted a mecha before? It must be fake. Although it did look like it had never been piloted before. How did it look like it had never been piloted before? Feng Xiai came down from the mecha. His face was normal, completely different from the pale-faced and weak image that the shop assistant had imagined. However, when he approached Shisheng, he looked uncomfortable and hugged Shisheng's shoulder. He felt a little dizzy. Now you know it's uncomfortable? Feng Xi's spiritual power was definitely above A+, but he had never touched a mecha before, so he would definitely feel uncomfortable. Yes, Feng Xiai replied softly. Shisheng patted his back and waited for him to calm down. If you're done playing, let's go. It's time to eat. You're not buying? Feng Xiai tilted his head and looked at her. There's some at home. If you want to play, go home and pick one. The Sure family had piles of mechas everywhere. Some were stolen from the Alliance, while others were made by the Sure family. He could play one a day without a problem. Oh! Feng Xiai looked at the mecha. Most mechas were silver or gray, but this one was a fiery red. The design of the body was very smooth, and it gave people the impression that it was bright. But I want to buy it. Shisheng. Shisheng pulled him off his body. Do you have money? Of course you do. Isn't your money for me to spend? Feng Xiai said confidently. If you don't spend it for me, Who else do you want to spend it for? The shop assistant was speechless, but he looked down and pretended not to hear anything. Sheng. Bye. He really owed it to him. Sheng had just settled the bill when two young men rushed in. They pulled the shop assistant aside and pointed at the mecha that she had just bought, indicating that they wanted to buy it. The shop assistant recognized the two people in front of her. They had come to take a look before, but they didn't buy it because they didn't have enough money. Today they had enough money. But the problem was this mecha had already been sold. The shop assistant could only smile. I'm sorry, but this mecha is already sold. You may look at other models. What? Didn't I tell you to keep it for me? One of the young men shouted. How do you do business? How can you sell it to others? The shop assistant cursed silently. Was that someone else? She was the master of the blue planet. The entire blue planet belonged to her. Would he dare to say no? Who did you sell it to? The young man wearing a leather jacket asked with a frown. The young man with the loud voice also asked. Who did you sell it to? The shop assistant gestured with his chin at the two people who had yet to leave. The two young men looked over at the same time. The first person they saw was the young man leaning against the counter. He was wearing a white shirt and casual pants. He was looking at the screen beside him with his head tilted to the side. Light flashed across his face from time to time. It was as if there was a layer of filter on his face. His entire person was emitting a holy radiance. Perhaps sensing their gazes, the young man raised his head and looked over. The two young men held their breaths at the same time. How could this person be so good-looking? However, the fear that followed soon after spread like a tide. His eyes were as cold as ice. The corners of the young man's lips curled up. He was originally as pure and holy as a god, but at this moment, endless darkness invaded and enveloped the young man. It was as if he could tear them apart with just a lift of his hand. What are you doing? A voice suddenly sounded from the side. The young man suddenly retracted his gaze and instantly turned into cherub. He smiled innocently and his face was coated with a layer of warm light. The two young men only regained their senses after the terrifying feeling disappeared. Damn it, this person graduated from the art department, right? However, the two young men were not in the mood to care about whether Feng Ci graduated from the art department or not. This was because they saw the girl standing with her back facing them. The two of them felt like they had been hit 10,000 times. Why was the head of the Sher family here? The two of them looked at the shop assistant at the same time and shouted silently, She bought the mecha? The shop assistant wanted to roll his eyes, but the customer was God. He could only maintain his smile and nod slightly. The two young men. Crazy. The Sher family had their own mecha store. Why did she come here to buy it? Did the Sher family lack mecha? The two young men did not dare to court death. They turned around and ran outside. After running for a long distance, they finally remembered that the young man seemed to be that person's partner. The two of them looked at each other in silence and wiped away their cold sweat. F***ck, rich people are really stubborn. Feng Ci spent more than 1 billion yuan shopping in Sheng's shop for an afternoon. Feng looked at the number that kept being deducted and numbly ordered the staff to make a space to store the things that would be sent back later. Xinxing lay on the table. The decorations on her princess dress made a crisp sound as her little feet swayed. Now you know how much Master dotes on him, right? Feng's typing hand paused. After a while, he continued typing. After sending the message, he looked at Xinxing. I'm a little worried. That Feng Ci in front of Sheng and in front of others were completely different. Don't worry about this. Master knows what kind of person she's with. Feng. This was his duty. What was wrong with him worrying? Xinxing changed her position. Feng, when will you be done? Feng looked at the workload in front of him and said seriously, It's still early. Xinxing jumped down and walked around the room. The decorations on her jingled. Feng held his forehead. Little ancestor, can't you play by yourself for a while? I'm very busy. No, Master asked you to look after me. She wanted to go out. She didn't want to stay here. Master didn't allow her to go out alone, so she could only pester Feng. Feng. Shifeng shook his head and quickly dealt with a few more urgent things. Then he turned off the screen. 1 hour. I still have things to do. Okay. The little girl jumped onto Shifeng's back and hugged his neck. Let's go, let's go. We're in a hurry. Shifeng. Why did he have to take care of the child? Shisheng finished eating with Feng Xiai and was about to go back. As soon as they stepped out, they were blocked by a group of people. They weren't here to block her. Someone was causing trouble, and these people were watching. Shisheng stood inside and listened for a while. A cleaning robot in the shop next door suddenly went out of control and attacked someone. That person demanded compensation from the shop. It had been many years since a robot attacked a person, but Shisheng heard that there had been a few cases recently. One could be said to be an accident, but if there were a few, then it definitely wasn't. Shisheng's heart sank. She was the one who built the Blue Planet's defense system herself. She didn't use the mainframe's program. The network was also built separately. Before connecting to the mainframe, there were many layers of defense walls. If the mainframe invaded, how did it come in? Asterisk monthly votes. 2,000 plus chapters. La la la. Double monthly votes. Little cuties, wave your monthly votes. Love you. Chapter 1410. When Shisheng returned, he found that Xinxing and Shifeng were not there. He could only go to the main control room to check. But he didn't find anything wrong. Everything on Blue Planet was normal. Everything would seem abnormal if it was normal. She destroyed the pirate group controlled by the mainframe. Would the mainframe let it go? Shifeng came back and saw Shisheng sitting there in deep thought. He was slightly surprised and walked over with light steps. As soon as he stood still, Shisheng looked up and ordered in a calm voice. Investigate all smuggling forces on Blue Planet. Shifeng thought for a while and thought of something. Is it because of the robots attacking people? Of course, this matter was reported, but he didn't find any clues. Issue a level 3 martial law and activate the highest defense system. Those who don't have Blue Planet resident identification will be expelled within 3 days. The port will be closed in 10 days. Those who don't return to Blue Planet in time are not allowed to enter again. Destroy all machines of unknown origin. Investigate and monitor any abnormal places. If any abnormal humans are found, execute them on the spot. Is it that serious? Shifeng was surprised. This was practically a lockdown on Blue Planet. Shifeng. Shisheng stood up from his chair. His voice was unprecedentedly serious. Our opponent is 0. 0? Galactic mainframe. Shifeng's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. What did the family head do to provoke the mainframe? Since Shisheng said it so seriously, Shifeng didn't dare to delay and immediately ordered to do it. The level 3 martial law was the first to be issued. Blue Planet had only issued martial law twice before. The first time was when the Zergs attacked, and the second time was when the Alliance sent troops. But it was only level 2. When the Zergs attacked, it was only level 2. Now level 3 martial law was issued. Was this more powerful than the Zergs? This wasn't a joke. Even if the master of Blue Planet was willful and liked to cause trouble, he had never joked about this. Everyone on Blue Planet knew that something big was going to happen. They all started to act according to the instructions on the martial law. The Zhanlong guards, who were bored to death, worked with the garrison troops to investigate all illegal forces on Blue Planet. All abnormal machines were destroyed. Illegal residents were expelled. The port was easy to leave but difficult to enter. The announcement that it was about to be closed was broadcast all day. At first, there were still people cursing, but they found that many people on the star web were complaining. It wasn't just the Blue Planet that was taking action. The planets under the jurisdiction of the 6 great families were also taking action. Only then did everyone realize that something big was about to happen. And the Cerulean planet wasn't the only one affected. Ashung, don't hurt her. Impossible. Ashung, I beg you. I've never begged anyone in my life. I beg you, let her go. Exile her anywhere. Don't hurt her. No. Ken Ashung, I'm dying. Shisheng suddenly sat up on the bed and gasped for breath. Her mind was filled with Xia Chu's last conversation with her. That was the last time she saw Xia Chu. Why would he dream of her at this time? Xiaosheng? Feng Xiai propped himself up and looked at her with the help of the moonlight shining in through the window. His face was full of worry. What's wrong? Shisheng rested his forehead on his hand and tried to calm himself down. Nothing. Did I wake you up? Feng Xiai took her hand and placed it on his chest. I felt it. Shisheng rubbed his chest with her fingertips. He was a little absent-minded. He almost forgot that they had a soul contract. I dreamed of Xiachu, Shisheng said softly. I've never dreamed of her since she died. I don't know why today. Feng Xiai hugged Shisheng. No matter what happens, I'll face it with you. I'll protect you. Shisheng looked out the window. There were flashes of light from time to time. It was a patrol ship. A storm was coming. Fortunately, she wasn't alone. On the 10th day of the martial law, all the ports were closed. No one was allowed to enter or leave. At the same time, all communication with the outside world was cut off. They could only browse the galactic web and couldn't post any comments. Apart from the people on the Cerulean planet, no one else could be contacted. Of course, the internal discussions on the Cerulean planet could be used. What happened? Everywhere is under martial law. I heard that the people on the capital planet have started to take action too. They can still use the galactic web, but we can't go there. I heard that the Sher family built the galactic web on the Cerulean planet alone. I didn't expect it to be true. What's the use of building the galactic web on its own? We can't even contact the outside world now. Shisheng used Xinxing, who had turned back into a tablet, to browse through the discussions on Star Web. Her expression was cold and her eyes were unperturbed, as if she was just browsing through a trivial matter. Shifeng came in with a few Zhanlong guards. Master, all the strange places have been cleaned up. The Zhanlong guards are conducting a third round of inspection. The first round was carried out by the army. The second round was carried out by the Zhanlong guards and the army. The third round was carried out by the Zhanlong guards, because the Zhanlong guards were the Sher family's trusted aides. Okay. Shisheng responded casually. Shifeng waved his hand and dismissed the others. Master Yin has asked to speak with you many times. Are you really not going to answer? Master Yin was the oldest among the families. Plus, the Yin family was good at divination, so everyone respected him. Shisheng closed the galactic web. I don't have anything to say to them. Then I'll talk to Master Yin directly? Shifeng didn't persuade him. If Master Yin said he didn't want to see them, then he definitely wouldn't. Shisheng knocked on the table and looked at Shifeng's back. When he was about to walk out of the door, Shisheng stopped him. Put him through. Shifeng turned around in confusion, but Shisheng had already lowered his head and looked at the table. How did Master Yin figure it out? Master Yin was no different from before. He stroked his small white beard with a faint smile on his face. He looked like an elder. Master Sher. Shisheng crossed his legs and looked arrogant. Master Yin, what do you want to talk to me about? Patriarch Yin dismissed the surrounding people and asked with a serious expression. Patriarch Sher, what do you think about the matter regarding Zero? Shisheng raised his eyebrows and asked without surprise. Caesar told you? Master Yin didn't admit or deny it. We'll deal with it as it comes. Shisheng's mouth twitched. You've been relying on the mainframe all these years. Now you know how troublesome it is, right? Master Yan's face turned red. But the mainframe was used by the entire galaxy. It was indispensable in people's lives. It was needed for food, clothing, transportation, and identification. We are not family head Sher. We don't have such good talent. Family head Yin sighed. Ever since she took over, everything in the Sher family was changed by her. Although it was still connected to the mainframe, it had its own defense wall. Okay, stop talking about this. What do you want from me? I don't have the time and I don't want to help. Chapter 14:11. I heard from Caesar. His Excellency. He said that the hope is on you. So you're here to persuade him? Caesar was so capable. He could even persuade the old man of the Yin family. Do you trust him that much just because he says so? The head of the Yin family stroked his beard and thought for a moment. To be honest, I believe His Excellency Caesar because I received a warning. Shisheng understood. The Yin family was good at divination. The head of the Yin family thought that Shisheng would ask him what his warning was, but Shisheng just looked at him calmly and didn't seem to have any intention of asking. Cough. The warning I received was troubled times are coming. I didn't know what it meant at first, but now I understand. The troubled times weren't referring to Shisheng, but to the mainframe 0. The last sentence was definitely referring to her. Head of the Shur family, I don't need to tell you how powerful 0 is. You know it in your heart. The head of the Yin family still couldn't digest this news. At first he really thought that Luan was referring to Shisheng. He didn't expect that Luan was referring to the mainframe. Shisheng didn't say anything. The head of the Yin family continued. If what His Excellency Caesar said is true, 0 wants to turn all of us into emotionless machines. Can you imagine that world? Head of the Yin family, let's make a choice. Shisheng typed on the screen. The head of the Yin family said something quickly. If 0 wants to use my life in exchange for it, it agrees to give up this plan. Head of the Yin family, what will you choose? The head of the Yin family stared at that sentence for a minute without responding. How should he choose? If he didn't choose, then there was nothing to say. He would just let 0 develop. If he chose, then he would have nothing to say. Head of the Shur family, this choice doesn't exist. There's no need to choose. The head of the Yin family was old, and had seen more ghosts than humans. He had encountered all kinds of tricky problems. However, every time he faced this little girl, he couldn't say anything. She could always think of the worst and pick out the worst outcome for you to choose. Patriarch Yin, do you choose to exchange or not? Shisheng waited for a moment, but the head of the Yin family did not respond. She sneered. If this condition is valid, will the head of the Yin family unite everyone and persuade me to die? If I die, I will be able to save the entire galaxy. My name will be passed down through the ages and sung by the world. This is a very worthwhile thing. Patriarch Yin. Shisheng stretched his face forward and pointed at the tip of his nose. Do I look like a good person who would sacrifice myself for others? This bunch of idiots. Patriarch Yin. Patriarch Yin closed his eyes, his wrinkled face revealing a sorrowful expression. I know you resent us for not helping the Xia family back then, but Patriarch Shur, we were all in trouble at that time and we did not leave them to die. By the time we reacted and sent people over, it was already too late. The Xia family. Well then, let's talk about the Xia family. Shisheng stepped back, his expression becoming more and more indifferent. Patriarch Shur, what we want to talk about now is not the Xia family, but 0. Patriarch Yin frowned. Patriarch Yin, you were the one who started the conversation. Are you guilty? Patriarch Yin immediately rebuked. What do I have to be guilty of? I have done all right. Shisheng sneered. Since you are not guilty, why are you so angry? Patriarch Yin almost choked on his breath. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Shur family head, we can find an opportunity to discuss the Xia family's matter. Let's call the other families over and discuss it openly. But not now. I hope you can face the problem of 0 head on. Patriarch Shur, let's calm down and talk later. Patriarch Yin decisively hung up the phone. The image in front of Shisheng disappeared. She stared at the void for a moment, then flipped the things on the table. Damn it, this bunch of idiots. She was very clear about what happened back then. The chaos was just an excuse. They did not take action because they were afraid that the fire would burn them. Now they wanted to talk openly with her. What did they want to talk about? Were they not afraid of losing their last fig leaf? When the Xia family was still around, did they not ask the Xia family for help? Did Xia Chu not help them make enough things? When they were taking things, they were very enthusiastic. When they really needed help, they did not even dare to fart. After the incident, they still wanted to wash their hands of it. How could it be so easy? Feng Xiai saw the angry Shisheng as soon as he came in. He stood at the door for a while, until Shisheng waved at him. Only then did he walk in. You just woke up? Have you eaten? Shisheng adjusted his collar. Not yet. I want to eat with you. Feng Xiai shook his head. Why are you so angry? A bunch of shameless people. Shisheng scolded. Don't mention them. I get angry just thinking about them. Order whatever you want to eat. I'll let you. Feng Xiai nodded and turned on the gadget Shisheng had given him. The watch on his wrist was the one from before. He skillfully turned on the virtual interface and tapped on a few things. The Zhanlong guards quickly sent the things in and cleaned up the room that Shisheng had messed up. Xiaosheng, what's in the room on the top floor? Feng Xiai bit his chopsticks and looked at Shisheng. Top floor? Shisheng was confused. I don't remember. Didn't I give you access? Go and see for yourself. I can't open it. Shisheng gave him access to all the villa. He could even log into the system that she used and issue commands on her behalf. However, he could not open the room on the top floor. You can't open it? She had this villa a long time ago, but she did not live in it. She remembered that she did not put anything on the top floor. Feng Xiai nodded obediently, but he could not open it. I'll go take a look later. After Feng Xiai finished eating, Shisheng and he went up to the top floor. There were 2 rooms on the top floor. One of the rooms was open, and it was empty. There was a metal door at the end. The door was locked with a password. Shisheng tried the password that he was used to. Password error. Password error. The same message popped up several times in a row. Shisheng was confused. What the hell is this? Shisheng gave Shifeng a call. Shifeng was busy, so he quickly asked, Clan head, what are your orders? What's wrong with the room on the top floor of my villa? Why can't I open it with my password? Top floor. Shifeng was also confused. I don't know. They had cleaned up the villa, but they did not have access to some rooms. How would he know about the room on the top floor? Top floor. Shifeng seemed to have thought of something. Master, do you still remember Ji Dai? Shisheng frowned. Shifeng continued. At that time, you brought her back and asked us to watch over her. At that time, there were many things waiting to be done on the blue planet. The Zhanlong guards temporarily locked her up on the top floor of this villa. If you don't know the password, then it must have something to do with her. Chapter 14:12. Shisheng continued to press the password. She paused for a few seconds before pressing the last digit. The password is correct. Shifeng heard it too. His solemn face revealed a hint of surprise. Shisheng hung up and pushed the door open. There was a strong smell inside the door. It was old and musty and smelled of blood. Shisheng asked Feng Xiai to wait outside. She went in and made sure there was no danger before letting him in. There was nothing in the room, but there were strange marks on the ground. They were made of blood and ink. Feng Xiai walked around and said uncertainly, This seems to be a summoning array. He wasn't from this world. He just felt that it was similar. This is a soul-condensing array. Shisheng glanced at it and concluded, one of the arrays that the Ji family is good at. The Ji family was good at arrays. The 6 great families were all very powerful. Unfortunately, only the direct descendants and the family heads could learn these things. Others couldn't learn them. As time passed, many direct descendants couldn't learn these things anymore. It wasn't that they were stupid. Many smart direct descendants just couldn't learn them. The inheritance was being lost. The 6 great families were reclusive at first. They didn't want to get involved in these things. But when people started to target them, they realized that they weren't as strong as they thought. They were only good as individuals. One person couldn't protect the entire family. Shisheng stared at the fading mark. Why did the Ji family's array appear here? Condensing soul? Whose soul was it condensing? Don't move. Shisheng grabbed Feng Xiai. Do you remember the other main character of the story I told you? Yes. Ji Dai, a spy from the Alliance. She was sent to the Xia family when she was young. She fabricated that she was a distant cousin of the Xia family. At that time, after Xia Chu lost her brother and I wasn't around, Ji Dai was Xia Chu's only friend. She had her own things to do. She couldn't be with Xia Chu all the time. She didn't know what happened between Ji Dai and Xia Chu. But when she realized that Ji Dai had a very important place in Xia Chu's heart, Ji Dai was already able to fight side by side with her. She did not like Ji Dai very much. It was not because she was close to Xia Chu, but because she did not like her. Later on, it was proven that she was right. Ji Dai did not have good intentions, but Xia Chu did not listen to her advice and released her, leading to the destruction of the entire Xia family. Sometimes I think that Xia Chu is really a jinx. She left behind a mess for me to clean up for her. In order to avenge her, I washed the capital star with blood and killed my way into the alliance. She, on the other hand, died and got everything done. Feng Xiai patted her head. What? To comfort you. I'm not sad at all. Shisheng brushed his hand away. I'm afraid of myself when I'm cold-blooded. When she found out that Xia Chu had died, she was not sad at all. Her mind was filled with the thought of killing that group of shameless people. Later on, when he thought about it, he might have gone mad from anger. She didn't know what sadness was anymore. I like how cold-blooded you are. Feng Xi's tone was gentle. She would smile at him, tell him things she didn't want to say to others, protect him, and take care of his emotions. She gave her cold-bloodedness to others, but left her only warmth to him. Shisheng glanced at him. Do you have any other path besides liking me? I don't think so. Even if it was a dead end, he did not regret stepping on it. How would he know how stunning the scenery was until he reached the finish line? Shisheng looked at him suspiciously. Why aren't you jealous of Xia Chu? When the female lead was unreasonable, it did not matter if you were a man or a woman. Feng Xiai raised his chin slightly, a smile on his lips. Xia Chu has a very deep mark in your life, but I know that she can't compare to me. Why would he compare himself to someone who could not compare to him? Is it because she's dead? Shisheng exposed him mercilessly. Feng Xi's face stiffened. Shisheng stared at Feng Xiai. What if I told you that she might not be dead? Feng Xi's eyes widened as he questioned him silently. Shisheng flipped through some memories in his mind. She asked me to let you go, but you know that's impossible. I won't let you go. You have to go down and accompany her. I know. Can you give me another month? After she went back and massacred the capital star, she left with the Shi family and came to the Blue Planet. She begged her to give her a month. During that month, she was fighting with the Alliance. When she came back, she saw Ji Dai's corpse. 1 month was enough for her to do many things. For example, the soul condensing formation. When she returned to the capital star, she did not find Xia Chu's corpse. Everyone said that Xia Chu and the Xia family were killed in the explosion. Not even their bones were left. She searched the entire capital star, but could not find her corpse. The people from the Alliance also testified that they saw Xia Chu and the Xia family die in the explosion with their own eyes. However, Ji Dai was the closest person to Xia Chu at that time. She had the chance to hide the corpse. Are you angry? Shisheng tilted his head and looked at the stunned Feng Xiai. If you're angry, I won't investigate. Let's just pretend that we never entered this room and that Xia Chu is dead. Anyway, she had already helped her take revenge. She did not owe Xia Chu anything. Feng Xiai smiled. Shisheng, it's a lie that I'm not angry. I'm very angry, but I can't be your restraint. Even if I'm angry, I can't stop you. I'll support you in whatever you want to do, but Shisheng waited for him to continue. However, Feng Xiai did not speak for a long time. He just stared at her. But what? But Feng Xiai leaned closer to Shisheng and whispered in her ear. Only I can touch you. No one else can. Okay. Feng Xiai wanted to play with the mecha. Shisheng could only change the office location to the mecha practice room. She found Caesar's contact information. Caesar had a head of golden hair and a sly smile on his face. I knew you would contact my Shisheng. Cut the crap. Where is Xia Chu? Caesar rubbed the corners of his eyes. Shisheng, do you think I would hand Xia Chu over to you so easily? This was his trump card. How could he hand it over so easily? I know what you want to say. Shisheng, it's useless even if you destroy the space administration. You won't be able to find her. You have to believe me. I may not be your opponent, but I have the ability to hide someone. Caesar did not wait for Shisheng to speak. First, tell me how you let Xia Chu live. Even if she knew that Xia Chu could be alive, she would not believe Caesar so easily. This idiot dared to scheme against her. He was full of evil tricks. Every word he said was suspicious. Caesar did not intend to hide anything. When Xia Chu was in trouble, I was on the imperial planet. Asterisk, please vote. Chapter 14:13. He didn't mention what Caesar was doing on the capital star. He only said that he happened to be there and witnessed the massacre. Because there was a mole, the Xia family's defenses were quickly breached. Xia Chu detonated the explosives on her body so that she wouldn't be caught. The internal strife of the 6 dominant families was fierce, but they had one thing in common. They would never submit to outsiders. They would rather die than collude with others. Caesar didn't bring Xia Chu's body out. It was Ji Dai. He just happened to see it. Before Ji Dai could figure out what to do with Xia Chu's body, Shisheng came back. She knew that Shisheng wouldn't let her go, so she handed the body to Caesar. How can there be so many coincidences? Do you think I'll believe that? Shisheng looked at Caesar with a half-smile. You've been plotting against me since then, haven't you? Caesar was speechless. He lowered his head to hide the dark glint in his eyes. When he looked up again, he smiled. Little Sheng, how can you think of me as such a sinister person? Sorry, I'm just that sinister. Shisheng looked indifferent. Can you swear on your face that you didn't start plotting against me since then? Caesar immediately raised his hand and swore. I swear on my face that I didn't start plotting against you since then. He looked sincere. Little Sheng, you have to believe me. Xia Chu was just an accident. An accident? You're using an accident to threaten I? Do you think I'm retarded? Caesar, it seems like you've become more and more shameless after all these years. Shisheng sneered. How did you manage to get the Ji family to help you? The soul condensing array was the Ji family's array. Not many people in the Ji family knew how to use it. The soul condensing array must have come from the Ji family, and it must have been done by the higher-ups. Caesar was silent. It was Jizheng. What the F***? Jizheng, that was Ji Ye's father. Shisheng thought for a moment. It seemed that Ji Yi had become the head of the Ji family around that time. Not long after, news of Jizheng's death spread. The price of using the soul condensing array is very high. Jizheng and Ji Dai both paid with their lives. The smirk on Caesar's face faded, and he became serious, as if showing respect for life. At that time, I didn't think that Ji Dai would be able to persuade Jizheng. Later, I found out that Jizheng owed the Xia family a big favor. Xia Chu was the only member of the Xia family, so he agreed to use the soul concentrating array. Shisheng quickly went through the matter in his mind. After the Xia family was annihilated, Ji Dai brought the corpses out. She met Caesar and killed her way back because of her. Ji Dai knew that Caesar would not let her go, so she handed Xia Chu over to Caesar. After that, she captured Ji Dai, and Ji Dai begged her to give her a month. At that time, Blue Planet wasn't as heavily defended as it was now. She left the Shi family here, and brought the Zhanlong guards to settle the score with the alliance. It was easy for someone to come in. Ji Dai took the opportunity to contact Jizheng and used the soul consolidating array to save Xia Chu. No, perhaps she had already made an agreement with Jizheng when he caught her. Did Jizheng have feelings for the Xia family? Yes, Jizheng was like most people when he was young. He was young and frivolous. To put it bluntly, he was hot-headed and acted like a Chinibyu. He wanted to fight the Zergs alone, and the result was self-evident. He almost died in the hands of the Zergs. It was the Xia family who passed by who saved him. But something didn't make sense. If Jizheng really wanted to save the Xia family, why did he wait until everyone in the Xia family was dead? Shisheng rubbed his brows. And Caesar, that idiot, how could he appear at such a perfect time? She definitely didn't trust this man. There were too many suspicious points. Shisheng looked at Caesar. Xia Chu is still alive? Caesar didn't answer. Instead, he asked, Xiaosheng, do you think that 2 lives can't be exchanged for 1 life? Who knew that this was an act that defied the heavens? Ji Dai might be able to understand. She regretted it because she felt guilty and couldn't bear to do it. But what right did Jizheng have? Don't talk to her about benevolence and righteousness. Jizheng was the head of the family. Even if he wanted to help, he wouldn't exchange his life for it. Caesar knew what Shisheng was suspecting, but he couldn't say too much now. The more he said, the more mistakes he would make. Just when the two of them were silent, Patriarch Yen sent a call request. Shisheng tapped his fingertip, and half of Patriarch Yen's body appeared in the void. Mr. Caesar is also here? Patriarch Yen seemed a little surprised. Some emotions surged in his eyes, but he quickly suppressed them and disappeared. Caesar nodded slightly and greeted politely. Patriarch Yen. Since you're all here, I'll call Patriarch Ji and Patriarch Jean as well. Patriarch Sure. Do you have any objections? Shisheng glanced at the training ground. The mecha rotated 90 degrees in midair and slashed down fiercely. The red body of the mecha was very eye-catching. He should be playing for a while. Shisheng agreed to Patriarch Yan's request. Soon Ji Yi and Jin Shi appeared. Obviously they knew Caesar too. The Zhong family and the Mu family weren't here. They were excluded. After greeting each other, Patriarch Yan, as the oldest person present, spoke first. Patriarch Sure, let's not talk about Zero today. Let's talk about the Xia family. Shisheng glanced at Caesar. Caesar was drinking his coffee with his head lowered, pretending not to have heard anything. Shisheng put on a fake smile and said in an indifferent tone, Sure. She wanted to see what they had to say. The three family heads looked at each other. Patriarch Yin cleared his throat. Back then, the alliance colluded with the royal family and created chaos for all the major families, causing us to be unable to fend for ourselves. They took the opportunity to besiege the Xia family. The Xia family eventually perished because of a traitor. Patriarch Sure, you shouldn't blame this on us, right? That's right. Jin Shi's loud voice echoed. When did I say that I would blame you? Shisheng found it funny. All these years, you think that I have a grudge against you. Did I say that? If you don't have a grudge against us, why did you target us all these years? Jin Shi slammed the table. Shisheng's eyes drifted over. Do I have to kneel down and lick your boots? Who do you think you are? Shisheng, don't be so harsh with your words. Jin Shi's temper was so bad that he couldn't hold it in. He almost rushed over from the screen to fight with Shisheng. Shisheng's expression was calm as she allowed Jin Shi to yell and shout. Then don't listen. I'm not begging you to listen. Patriarch Jin. Patriarch Yin saw that the situation was not right and quickly comforted Patriarch Jin. We're not here to quarrel today. Jin Shi looked into Patriarch Yan's eyes and seemed to have thought of something. He hummed and sat back down angrily. Patriarch Yin comforted Jin Shi and said earnestly, Patriarch Sure, this is the truth. We didn't mean to leave the Xia family in the lurch. She would never let go of this matter if she couldn't talk it out. Oh, I didn't target you all that much. Shisheng raised his eyebrows and smiled. His bright face was full of malice. I just can't stand you all. Jin Shi was about to throw a tantrum again, but was stopped by Patriarch Yin. He could only glare at Shisheng. This despicable woman. Chapter 14:14. Shisheng looked into the void. In this world, the strong live and the weak die. I never thought that you didn't save the Xia family. Everyone fell silent. Even Jinxi stared at Shisheng in shock. Shisheng sneered. If I really thought that you had something to do with the Xia family's destruction, you would have gone to hell like those who participated in it. But it's fine if you don't want to save them. Why do you have to find so many excuses and put yourself in a position where you can't do what you want? She didn't say anything back then. Those who were killed were all people who were involved in this matter. These people were the ones who wanted to clear their names and prove that it wasn't that they didn't want to save them. Weren't they courting death? The three of them looked awful. We didn't have a choice. You know that the Alliance has been planning for so long. How could they let us free up to help? Jinxi said stiffly. The Alliance was interested in the Xia family's manufacturing ability. If that ability could be used in the military, the Alliance could unify the 6 galaxies. However, the Xia family didn't want to join the Alliance. After the Alliance failed to persuade them several times, they colluded with some members of the Imperial family, who wanted to join the Alliance. Thus they planned for many years. Patriarch Sure, if you want to distance yourself from us because of this, you're disregarding the greater good. We all feel bad about what happened to the Xia family. We can accept that you're angry at us. But now, if we don't unite, we'll face a situation worse than back then. Is that what you want to see? Shisheng knocked on the table impatiently. I told you, I'm not angry at you. I just can't stand you. Don't put the blame on yourself. If I was angry at you, I would have killed you long ago. Everyone. They couldn't stand it. Wasn't he just taking out his anger on them? If you want to talk about taking out my anger, I'm only angry at Patriarch Ji. Ji raised his head and wiped his face. He said in a deep voice, I'm sorry for what happened back then. If I could have listened to her, perhaps. There were no ifs or maybes. Things had already happened. As her fiancé, you didn't even listen to her when she was looking for you. Instead, you went to look for Ji Xian who couldn't find her way. Ji Yi lowered his head dispiritedly, and his face paled inch by inch. Shisheng's voice was calm, and one could not tell whether he was happy or angry. Since you like Ji Xian, why did you choose to get engaged to Xiachu? Matchmaker's words, parents' orders? With your status, what's so hard about not agreeing? Ji Yi, how does it feel to watch the Xia family being destroyed? Do you think it's wrong for me to vent my anger on you? In the end, Shisheng's tone became a little aggressive. Even Caesar could not stand it anymore. But from another perspective, if your fiancé didn't even listen to you and went to look for someone else for the sake of another woman, and perhaps even missed the last chance to save yourself, would you hate him? Would she resent him? If Ji Yi was not Xiachu's fiancé, he would not have done so. After all, they were unrelated, and there was no need to save each other. But they were engaged, and the wedding was set, but he did such a thing. Shisheng felt that he was being very generous by not killing him. Neither Patriarch Yan nor Jin Shi knew about this. They all thought that Shisheng was angry at Ji Yi for no reason because he was Xiachu's fiancé. It's my fault. Ji Yi's voice was hoarse. I'm sorry for Xiachu and the Xia family. Shisheng looked at him, and his voice was still cold. Do you know why Xiachu didn't contact you when she had the chance? Even if he had left, Xiachu could have contacted him, but she did not do so. Ji Yi looked up slightly, and his eyes were a little red. He stared at Shisheng and clenched his hands. She didn't want to implicate you. Since you left, it meant that you shouldn't have gotten involved, so she didn't contact you. She did everything she could. What about you, Ji Yi? What did you do after the Xia family was destroyed? After the Xia family was destroyed, he announced the annulment of his engagement with Xiachu. Did he say a word for the Xia family? Even if there was no love, there should be some affection, right? Yes, that was what she thought at the beginning. But she did not think so anymore. But this did not stop her from venting her anger on Ji Yi. I don't know if Xiachu likes you or not, but after she got engaged with you, she abided by her duty and put herself in the position of your fiancé. She never embarrassed you, and she did everything you asked for. What about you? What did you do? You were intimate with Ji Xian in front of her, and you even asked Xiachu to make a personal weapon for Ji Xian. You probably don't know how your sister Ji Xian was against Xiachu behind your back, right? Do you remember one time when she came back covered in injuries? I was the one who hit her. If Xiachu hadn't stopped me, she would have died that day. Shisheng paused. Who is Ji Xian? How can an orphan be worthy of Xiachu's personal weapon? Ji Yi did not seem to know what Shisheng was talking about. He was a little confused and even a little resistant to Shisheng's words. The atmosphere was a little tense. Even the hot-tempered Jing Shi calmed down. Patriarch Yan and Caesar looked at each other and communicated with their eyes. I advise you to give up. I will never be on the same side as you. Shisheng stood up and looked at the faces in the void. He regained his arrogant look. You don't deserve to be on the same side as me. She turned off the communication, and all the images disappeared. The training ground was dead silent. A young man covered in light came from afar and hugged her gently. Shisheng hugged him back and greedily rubbed against his warmth. It was enough for her to have him by her side. Shisheng spoke after a long while. I don't get it. She's clearly someone who kills without batting an eyelid, so why is she so tolerant and soft-hearted towards certain people? Ji Dai was like this, Ji Yi was like this, and she was even willing to let Ji Xian go. Feng Xiai stroked her back. Just like how you soft-hearted towards me. She should like them. It's different. If it were her, Ji Dai and Ji Yi would definitely die. She would not allow betrayal. If Feng Xiai betrayed her one day, she would not be soft-hearted. Even if she had to die, she would drag him down with her. Xiaosheng, everyone has their own beliefs. Feng Xiai lowered his head and his lips landed on the top of her head. Before I met you, I didn't care about anything. It didn't matter even if it was destroyed. But now that you are my faith, I will consider whether or not doing this will hurt you, whether or not it will make you angry. What strange things have you been watching recently? This mouthful of sweet nothings was King enough. Belief in love. Sheng's mouth twitched. Don't read such books. Some things don't need to be said. Just do it. Feng Xiai was puzzled. Then he picked up Sheng. Then do it now? Sheng. Get lost. #hashtag looking for hangbell flavored tickets #hashtag vote for the monthly votes. Hashtag. Chapter 14-15. At the Space Administration. Caesar rubbed his eyebrows. Mubai sat opposite him like an elegant prince, browsing the news on the star web. Director, what should we do now? Gina ignored Mubai. She hasn't contacted us yet. Let's wait. Caesar sighed. After so many years, he couldn't figure out how much this person's temperament had changed. Mr. Caesar, are you sure you want to wait? Mubai suddenly interrupted. Caesar looked at him, confused. Mubai zoomed in on the screen. It was a video taken from a high altitude. In the middle of the video, a group of people in military uniforms escorted two expressionless men to the podium. They first comforted the people step by step, then let the people inspect them. These two men are being controlled. Gina looked at the two men, and immediately concluded. The Sheng had killed the pirates, which must have angered the mastermind. The mastermind had started to act now. It wasn't a secret. It was just doing it openly. The mastermind just removed the emotions, and nothing else was affected. It was said that removing emotions would increase one's IQ. Therefore, the people in the video only looked more serious, but most people in high positions were like this. No one doubted them at all. Mubai played a few more videos, and they were all similar scenes. Zero has started to act, but the weapon you prepared is still out of control. Mr. Caesar, you're going to lose. Mubai sounded like he was gloating. Gina stared at him angrily. Mr. Mu, you're living under someone else's roof. What's the point of saying this? The latter smiled and sipped her coffee. She had the elegant temperament of a noble. I have my trump card. You may have to beg me in the future. Miss Gina, don't be too harsh with your words. Gina stomped her feet. This bastard, he's always like this. Caesar stopped Gina. Mr. Mu, shouldn't you take out your trump card? That's impossible. This is my life-saving weapon. How can I take it out so easily? Caesar resisted the urge to strangle Virus by and said in a very official tone. Mr. Mu, when do you think you can take it out? Mubai smiled at him. When I have to. Isn't it the last resort now? Mubai, do you believe that I will chase you out? Mubai looked at her with a smile. Miss Gina, girls shouldn't be so rude. You're so pretty, but you don't look good with that expression on your face. He even thoughtfully gave her a mirror. Gina looked at the beautiful woman in the mirror. Her face was ferocious, like an enraged leopard that was about to tear its prey apart. She was so angry that she snatched the mirror and turned it upside down on the metal table next to her. How infuriating. Mubai acted as if nothing had happened, and continued to drink his coffee elegantly. He always remembered that he was an elegant gentleman, so he had to maintain a smile and not lower himself to a woman's level. Caesar was afraid that they would fight, so he left with Gina. Gina complained, Director, why did we keep him here? He's a member of Zero. What if he's a spy? Most importantly, he didn't look like he was living under someone else's roof at all. It was as if he was here on vacation. Mubai must have a trump card, Caesar said calmly. Caesar replied calmly. You saw him looking for Sheng before. Although he said he wanted to surrender, he wasn't afraid or uneasy at all. We can analyze it from 2 points. First, he's a spy, just like you said. Second, he has a trump card that can save his life. He's not afraid of anything. Gina was puzzled. If it's the second point, why did he stay here? If he had a trump card to save his life, he could go anywhere, right? He wants to go to Shisheng, but Shisheng doesn't want him. And we, Caesar pointed at himself and Gina, are the people closest to the storm. Gina rolled her eyes and the corner of her mouth twitched. Director, do you mean that he's here to watch the show? Caesar flipped his blonde hair and smiled. I'm not sure. Although Mumbai isn't as difficult to deal with as Shisheng, he's not easy to deal with either. You should pay more attention to him. Could a person who was chosen by the mainframe to deal with Shisheng really be a retard? Gina frowned and complained in her heart. Everything would be fine if they kicked him out. Why did they have to keep him to make trouble for them? By the way, Director, have you figured out the artificial intelligence in Shisheng's hands? Caesar shook his head. You said it's called Shunxing? That's what Shisheng called it. Flying in the air like walking on solid ground, sleeping in the void like a virgin bed. Clouds and mist don't disturb one's sight. Thunder don't disturb one's hearing. Beauty and evil don't slip into one's heart, and valleys don't interfere with one's steps. Her name is a bit interesting. Caesar curled the corner of his mouth. Gina was confused. The name was a bit strange. The word God was rarely used in the interstellar era, especially in the Nether Galaxy. They thought it was disrespectful to the ancient times. But Shisheng named it Shunxing. The names of the people around her are meaningful, Caesar continued. The 10 directions generally refers to heaven, earth, east, west, south, north, life gate, death position, past and future. Shi Fang is the executive officer of the Zhanlong Guards. If she doesn't deal with it, Shi Fang will deal with it. Then why did she use such a name? Didn't she think it was unlucky to use such a name? I heard that her name was given by the previous head of the Shi family. She's not a direct descendant. Why did the head of the family name her? Gina was surprised. It's a big deal, Caesar said with an unfathomable expression. Caesar had an unfathomable expression. I haven't even figured it out yet. Only Shisheng herself knows what happened in the Shi family. Gina was speechless. You don't even know it yourself. What do you mean it's a big deal? Caesar probably received the disdain from his subordinates, so he had to save face. I don't know why she got such a name, but I know why she didn't change it. Why? Gina was really interested. They wanted her to be lowly and descend into the dust, but she insisted on making this name resound throughout the universe and intimidate the world. Do you think the person who gave her this name would be pissed to death? Gina was speechless. The person who gave her this name had already become a pile of bones. Caesar obviously remembered it and changed his words. Yes, she should be pissed to death. Note frowny face taking the air is like walking on solid ground. Sleeping in the void is like a virgin bed. Clouds and mist don't disturb one's sight. Thunder doesn't disturb one's hearing. Beauty and evil don't slip into one's heart. Valleys don't hinder one's steps. It's from Li Zi, the Yellow Emperor. The spirit is detached from the body and moves freely. Shi Fang is a Buddhist term. Buddhism refers to 10 directions, namely heaven, earth, east, west, south, north, life gate, death position, past and future. Chapter 14-16. Shisheng also received the news, and the video kept replaying. Shi Fang and Shunxing stood side by side. The former looked serious, while the latter looked desperate. Her bun face was almost scrunched up. She also wanted to be pampered and arrogant. Master used to pamper her, but now she had fallen out of favor. Master even pampered Feng Xiai. So sad. So sad. The more Shunxing thought about it, the more wrong she felt. She suddenly hugged Shi Fang's leg and cried. Shi Fang. Where did this little girl get cramps again? Shisheng asked Feng Xiai to finish the rest and came out. Shunxing, why are you crying? Shunxing stopped crying and let go of Shi Fang. Master, I might have short-circuited. Shisheng, Shi Fang. Feng Xiai came out with a bowl and sat down with Shisheng. Shisheng could only go to the side and bring a chair over. Eat seriously. Why are you looking at me? You look good. Shisheng glared at him and opened the latest news. Tell me about the current situation. Yes. Shi Fang instinctively moved away from Shisheng. Feng Xiai was very satisfied with Shifang's behavior, but Xinqing was a little afraid of him and was staring at him. In the end, Feng Xiai turned his head away first. He didn't want to argue with an artificial intelligence. Xinqing swayed her princess dress and moved to Feng Xi's side. She carefully reached out and tugged at his sleeve. Feng Xiai frowned at her and pulled back his sleeve. Probably because Feng Xiai didn't get angry, Xinqing tugged again and smiled. "Brother Feng, let's go out and play." Feng Xiai pulled back his sleeve and refused coldly. "No." Xinqing continued to tug, her big eyes begging. "Go, Brother Feng. They'll talk for a long time. It's very boring." Feng Xiai moved to Shisheng and said in a heavier tone no. He wanted to stay with her. Shisheng put his hand on his waist and looked away from Shifang. He glanced at Xinqing. "Xinqing, don't bother him." Xinqing's face fell. She knew how to act cute too. "I want to take Brother Feng out to play. He doesn't want to go. Don't mess around. If you mess around again, I'll change back." As soon as he heard that he was going to change back, Xinqing didn't dare to say anything. He ran back to Shifang's side and reached out to hold his thigh, quietly becoming a leg accessory. "Shifang. I hate Feng Xiai. I hate Feng Xiai. So hateful, so hateful." This was the little loli's resentment that Shifang felt next. When he was reporting, he was almost distracted by her. Feng Xiai ate while listening to Shifang's report. His expression was indifferent, but when Shisheng glanced at him from the corner of his eyes, he would immediately put on an obedient expression, as if he was saying, "I will eat seriously." Shifang sighed at the speed at which Feng Xiai changed his expression. He really didn't know what the clan had liked about him. Changing his expression? The Mu clan and the Zhong clan should be working together now. They've been in close contact recently. The other three families had always been close to each other, and recently, they had become even closer. The space administration is very quiet. Caesar has some ability to remove all the people I sent there. As for the situation inside, I can't find out for the time being. Shifang tried his best to ignore the pendant on his leg and Feng Xi's murderous aura from time to time. He had never felt that reporting work was so tiring. What about the royal family? The royal family is as usual. They're not doing anything. Shifang had more or less understood the situation and knew what they were facing now. Zero should be controlling a lot of high-ranking officials, but it's hard to say if the royal family members are under its control. Zero started its operation from the top. The people below all listened to the orders of the higher-ups. It used the inspection to easily turn a group of people to its side. The most frightening thing was that they didn't know who Zero's people were. They only knew that the people under Zero's control had no emotions and were expressionless. However, which of the higher-ups didn't look expressionless? Shisheng's fingertips gently rubbed Feng Xi's waist. She was obviously thinking about something, and didn't notice that Feng Xi's expression was a bit off. The temperature in the room was just right. He was only wearing a thin shirt, so the warmth of her hands easily seeped through the fabric and slowly spread from his waist. His waist was more sensitive. Feng Xiai held the spoon and almost buried his face in the bowl. After a while, Shisheng stopped. "Send a video out and tell everyone about this." Shifang was shocked. "Master, won't this cause chaos?" Shisheng's expression was arrogant. "I'm afraid it won't. Chaos would be good. No matter what era it was, the people in power would always keep secrets until the end. They would always use the excuse of not causing chaos. Hadn't they heard of the saying, 'There's strength in numbers'?" "Master, shouldn't you remind them of the solution?" Shifang asked tentatively. There was a solution to this problem, and it was very simple. Don't go on Galactic. Don't touch anything that requires Galactic. Don't participate in the inspection. It's easier said than done. Galactic is already a part of them. You're telling them not to use it? Shisheng sneered. Without Galactic, even making a phone call would be difficult. Shisheng didn't say whether to remind them or not. It was up to him to decide, in the end. Shifang still decided not to say anything. Those people outside didn't care about the truth. If they thought this was the case, then this was the case. If he reminded them, things might not end well for them. Shifang was about to leave when Shisheng suddenly asked, Is there any news about the matter I asked you to investigate? Master, it's been so many years. It's not easy to investigate. There's no news at the moment. Shifeng paused. If Miss Xiachu is really still alive, she definitely wouldn't use her identity. It's very difficult to investigate. Shifeng nodded and gestured for him to leave. Shifeng picked Xinxing up from his lap and left the room. After Shifeng left, Feng Xi immediately stood up and rushed into the room with a burning passion. Shifeng's hands were empty. He looked at Feng Xi's panicked back in confusion. What's going on? Shifeng followed Feng Xi in. Feng Xi slammed the toilet door with a bang. Shifeng. F***CK. What are you doing? Shifeng knocked on the door. I didn't provoke you just now, right? Why are you throwing a tantrum? No one answered him. If you don't open the door, I'll come in myself. The toilet door opened with a click. Feng Xi looked at him with his wet face and blushed face. He said softly, "It's nothing. I just need to go to the toilet." Shifeng looked at him suspiciously. Need to go to the toilet? Feng Xi stepped out. Yes. Shifeng caught up with him. Why are you blushing? It's hot. The temperature is just right. Where is it hot? It's just hot. Feng Xi was a little annoyed. Don't ask anything else. Shifeng raised his eyebrows. I can't even ask now? Feng Xi gritted his teeth and raised his voice slightly. I have a reaction. Are you satisfied? After shouting, he curled up on the bed and pulled the blanket over his head, covering himself tightly. Shifeng. If you have a reaction, then you have a reaction. What's there to be shy about? It's quite cute to be shy. Chapter 14-17. I'm not laughing at you. Come out first. Shifeng tugged at his blanket. No. Feng Xi pulled the blanket and curled himself into a ball. He didn't want to see her now. Be good, come out first. Shifeng's voice rang in his ear. Don't you feel uncomfortable in there? Uncomfortable. He felt very uncomfortable. He felt so uncomfortable that he wanted to die. He wanted to hug her. After a long silence, Feng Xi opened the blanket slightly. She was sitting beside him, within his reach. Feng Xi reached out his hand. His fingertips were trembling, and his voice was trembling. Xiaosheng, I feel uncomfortable. Shifeng's expression changed slightly. She lifted the blanket. Feng Xi's face had lost all color. It was frighteningly pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Shifeng let him lie on his lap and asked anxiously, Where do you feel uncomfortable? Wasn't he fine just now? Feng Xi just hugged her and didn't say anything, but his face was getting paler. Shifeng hurriedly checked him, but his body was normal. There was nothing wrong with him. Feng Xi, where do you feel uncomfortable? Tell me. Feng Xi, can you talk? Shifeng pressed the screen beside her and said anxiously, Shifeng, get the doctor here. Hurry. Shifeng was about to release the video when he suddenly received Shifeng's order. Her tone was not right. Shifeng didn't dare to delay, and hurriedly called the doctor over. He and the doctor arrived at the same time. When he saw the young man curled up in Shifeng's arms, his heart skipped a beat. He was fine when he left. Feng Xi didn't let go of Shifeng, so she could only carry Feng Xi for the doctor to check. Young master's body is very healthy. There's nothing wrong. T. How can he be healthy like this? Shifeng was furious. Although she knew it was normal, she couldn't control her anger. The doctor was so angry that he didn't even dare to breathe. After Shifeng calmed down, he continued. Young master's body is indeed very healthy. The equipment didn't detect anything wrong. Master, please calm down. Shifeng hurriedly comforted Shifeng and turned to the doctor. Go and inform the other doctors to come over. The doctor nodded, but all the doctors in the Shi family came to the same conclusion. It was normal. There was nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with him? If there was nothing wrong with him, why would he be like this? The row of doctors kept quiet out of fear as they looked at the young girl sitting on the bed. The young girl's face was gloomy and her eyes seemed to be burning with anger. However, if one looked closely, they could not see anything. However, They could clearly feel that terrifying aura. The surrounding temperature seemed to have dropped to the freezing point. Shisheng's finger trembled. He suddenly raised it and pointed at the door. "Get out, all of you." Shifeng waved his hand. The doctors all breathed a sigh of relief and quickly ran out of the door. It was so scary. He had never seen the patriarch lose control like this before. "Patriarch, why don't we invite the Jin family over to take a look?" Shifeng waited for everyone to leave before carefully making a suggestion. The Jin family was skilled in medicine. Naturally, this medical expertise didn't refer to ordinary medical expertise. Instead, it was specialized in dealing with difficult and complicated diseases. For example, the common genetic breakdown disease that couldn't be treated in the galaxy. Although they couldn't completely cure it, they could stabilize it. Shisheng reached out and brushed Feng Xi's sweat-soaked hair away, revealing his beautiful and exquisite eyes. Perhaps it was because he was in pain, but his eyebrows were knitted together. Shisheng's gaze grew colder. His voice was cold. "You can leave first." Shifeng hesitated but didn't say anything in the end. He left the room. Xinqing stood on her tiptoes to look inside. Shifeng grabbed her by the collar and walked out. "What's wrong with Feng Xi?" Xinqing didn't care that she was being carried. She hugged Shifeng's hand and asked. Shifeng put Xinqing on a chair in the corridor. "I don't know. The doctor said there's no problem, but he looks like he's in pain. I've never seen the patriarch like this. Nothing will happen, right?" Xinqing became nervous. A master contacted Caesar. Shifeng looked at Xinqing. There seemed to be a transparent screen in front of Xinqing. She was quickly tapping on something. After a moment, she lowered her head in disappointment. "Master blocked me. I can't see what they're saying." She could also bypass Master's block, but the consequences of doing so were very serious. She didn't dare. Shifeng patted her head. His gaze fell on the closed door in the distance. It was best if nothing happened. Caesar wasn't surprised that Shisheng looked for him. It could even be said that he was waiting for her. "Little Sheng, space repulsion. How did you solve it before?" Caesar narrowed his eyes and chuckled. There was a hint of roguishness between his brows. "Little Sheng, you're so smart. I'll be very scared. Save it for the future." Shisheng's voice was cold. Caesar pretended not to hear and said calmly, "I only have one condition. If you agree, I'll tell you how to suppress space repulsion and Xiachu's whereabouts. Isn't it worth it?" Shisheng's eyes flashed. He didn't say anything. Caesar continued. "You should have noticed that Feng Xi is different from other people. You've been to other worlds and know what space repulsion feels like. But Feng Xi's current feeling is 10 times, 100 times. People who weren't from this space would be repulsed by the laws of space. It was the same principle as her being hunted down by the heavenly Tao in the virtual world. When she went to other spaces, she would feel the same. But as long as she didn't do anything that could change history, there wouldn't be too much repulsion. She didn't know that Feng Xi's repulsion would be so serious. And there were no signs at all. He didn't even do anything. The Sher family didn't know how to suppress space repulsion. In the eyes of the Sher family, this was the law of nature. It was irreversible and they had to abide by it. Feng Xi will experience it once a month. Don't make a fuss about it. Caesar was still explaining calmly. Just bear with it. It's okay if you don't agree to my condition. Shisheng. This behavior is exactly the same as buttface. F***ck, as expected, like system, like master. Where's I's sword? The young man's painful moans were like sharp thorns that stabbed into her heart. It was so painful that she couldn't breathe. Shisheng gripped Feng Xi's hand tightly and said through gritted teeth. "What condition? Tell me." Caesar suddenly sat up straight and restrained the playful expression on his face. "Complete the mainframe's test." Shisheng sneered. "You might as well say that it'll be faster if I destroy the mainframe. It's already acting now. It's obviously not going to acknowledge your stupid agreement. Are you kidding me? This is something I need to worry about. You just need to agree to it." Caesar's tone was serious. Shisheng's eyes flickered. "This condition, is it just me or Feng Xi?" Caesar wanted to roll his eyes, but he thought that it would be unsightly and held back. Of course it's you and Feng Xiai. How can you complete the test alone? Even if I complete your so-called test, how do you know that the mainframe will abide by the agreement? Now that the mainframe had gone back on its word and wanted to kill her, who knew if it would continue to go back on its word? This condition itself was unfair. Caesar's tone was still calm. This isn't something you should be concerned about. Little Sheng, what happens in this world has nothing to do with you. You just want Xiachu and Feng Xiai, right? Chapter 14:18. For a moment, Feng Xiai thought that he was hallucinating. What did you say? Feng Xiai pushed the person on top of him away and stared at her anxiously. Sheng tilted his head slightly. Didn't you hear me? I heard you. Feng Xi's face suddenly turned red. Did I hear you wrong? He thought that he would never hear those 3 words from her. No. Feng Xiai took a deep breath, but he couldn't exhale for a long time. Sheng was afraid that he would suffocate. So he quickly opened his mouth to let him breathe. Are you stupid? You can't even breathe. Feng Xiai panted and smiled helplessly. His smile was pure and beautiful. He was an angel that had fallen into the dust, bringing a ray of light to her dark kingdom. Sheng's eyes darkened. He pulled the blanket over their heads. Sheng, it hurts. Why are you like a girl? It really hurts. Be gentler. Caesar and his men had arrived a long time ago. But even after waiting from morning until noon, the person he was waiting for didn't appear. Only when night fell did Sheng arrive with Feng Xiai. Feng Xiai was a little dazed, and the smile on his face was a little silly. It was Caesar's first time seeing Feng Xiai, so, how should he describe it? He was as clean as a piece of white paper. He was covered in light and seemed like he could save everyone at any time. What did she do to him? Before Caesar could finish admiring Feng Xi's appearance, he suddenly looked over. At that moment, what saving everyone and being as clean as a piece of white paper? It was all fake. This was still the Feng Xiai he was familiar with. The Feng Xiai who could destroy the world at any time. Caesar quickly averted his gaze and calmly looked at Sheng, who was smiling coldly at him. Sheng, we need a bigger venue. Sheng waved his hand. Suddenly, a group of Zhanlong guards appeared in the empty room. Without saying a word, they went forward and captured them. Sheng. Caesar glared. She wouldn't go back on her words. Did her personality change after all these years? Before we start, let's play something fun. Sheng held Feng Xiai and walked out. Bring him in. Caesar heaved a sigh of relief. She didn't want his life. He had schemed against her. Even if she couldn't kill him now, she would definitely teach him a lesson. Caesar calmed down. At worst, it was just some physical pain. He could endure it. But when Caesar really went in, he realized that it wasn't just physical pain, it was simply life-threatening. Little Sheng, you don't have to go this far, do you? Sheng leaned against the railing as she watched the flashes of lightning below. Her lips hooked in a cold smile. You think my appearance fee is that cheap? Before Caesar could defend himself, Sheng waved his hand. Throw him out. Caesar. Was there a need to be so ruthless? Caesar grabbed the railing and said, Sheng, we can talk this out. Don't be so violent. Sheng took out his iron sword and chopped at his fingers on the railing without hesitation. Caesar. If you don't let go, your hand will be gone. Attacking without a word, what kind of person is this? Caesar was thrown down. The lightning flashed and directly pierced through his body. His golden hair instantly stood up. He looked completely unconventional. Even his face couldn't save his image. This was a training room. Naturally, no one would die. But Caesar had never experienced this kind of training before. He couldn't grasp the pattern, and could only endure it with his own body. He knew that Sheng wouldn't kill him, but this was 2F** king unbearable. Can you imagine the feeling of being struck by lightning? All the bones in his body felt like they were being shattered, then reassembled, then shattered again, over and over again. Why did she have such a thing here? It was 2F** king scary. Perverted. When Caesar was about to die from the lightning strikes, the Zhanlong guards turned off the lightning system in the training ground and dragged him out. They dragged him out, one leg at a time upside down. Master said that there was no need to be polite to him. It was fine as long as he didn't die. Caesar scratched the ground. He had to endure it. Master, now you know how I feel, right? Buttface, who had been quiet for hundreds of years, finally showed his face. In this real world, he didn't dare to show his face. This person wanted to tear him apart. Caesar trembled as he went to wash up. He didn't have the energy to argue with Shisheng. He asked for an empty room from Shisheng and went in with his men to prepare. The other members of the space administration were also calm. Although they couldn't bear to see Caesar being tortured like this, no one stood up for him. Caesar must have told them before he came. It was fine if they didn't speak. Once they spoke, they would have to go through thick and thin with him. Caesar sat on a chair and explained to Shisheng what he was going to do next. You're going to the real world, not the virtual world. I don't need to tell you what restrictions there are in the real world, right? You have to control your primitive force. Actually, there are loopholes. If you really want to do it, you have to be careful. Don't fail the mission. I can't care about anything else now. Shisheng. How casual. We're sending you to the real world as souls. You'll still be using other people's bodies. The rejection of the soul is not as serious as the original body. However, you can only inherit the memories of the original body. There will be no more plot reminders. In exchange for using the original body, you have to fulfill a wish left behind by the original body. This is similar to the previous one. The soul was still using the body of the original body. The law of space recognized that person. Of course, if he went too far, the law of space would definitely detect it. Caesar paused and looked at Shisheng. In the real world, there may be more than one protagonist. There are also people from other worlds. They also have great luck. You can't kill them casually. You have to control your primitive force. The 3,000 worlds were interconnected. Sometimes, accidents would cause people to appear in different worlds. In some worlds, the law of space was operating because it needed someone to break the rules to save the world that was about to collapse. Therefore, people from other worlds would appear. What's my mission? Your mission is very simple. Other than fulfilling the original body's wish, you have to find Feng Xi. This time, there won't be any reminders or general directions. He could be anyone. You have to find him and awaken his memories. Shisheng narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Caesar coughed and forced himself to say. Feng Xi won't have any memories. If he had memories, how could he take the test? Caesar looked at Shisheng nervously. He was afraid that she would pull out her sword and explode. I'm not doing this anymore. There's something I don't understand. Caesar gestured for Shisheng to speak. It's easier and faster for me to help you destroy the mainframe. Why do you have to use such a troublesome method? Caesar's expression darkened. You know that the mainframe is spread throughout the 6 major galaxies. If it goes out of control, all the galaxies will be paralyzed and this world will suffer heavy losses. If it's serious, it might collapse. If it's light, technology will regress by hundreds or even thousands of years. No one used paper to record information. If the mainframe really collapsed, all those civilizations and research results would disappear. #hashtag today, please give me a bunch of fancy votes #hashtag monthly votes #. Chapter 1419. Shisheng snorted coldly and didn't say anything else. Caesar then continued to tell Shisheng all the important things to take note of. Feng Xi listened quietly. She agreed to this because of him, so he couldn't refute her. He could always be with her in this world, but every time he was in pain, he would make her suffer. He didn't want to see her suffer because of him. She also agreed, because she had her own considerations. The mainframe will definitely set up all kinds of obstacles to break you up. What you need to do is to trust each other and believe in your own thoughts. Caesar gave up on Feng Xi. Forget it. He won't remember anything. It's useless to tell him. Just remember it. Shisheng looked at Feng Xi and smiled. Of course I believe in my man. She said before that a ship that could be broken up wasn't true love. I have one last thing to remind you. The screen in front of Caesar suddenly flashed. A row of words appeared on the black screen. You've reminded me enough. Caesar's expression changed. He swallowed the rest of his words and gave Shisheng a look that said, You have to hold on. Shisheng, is it? Shisheng narrowed his eyes and said in an unfriendly tone. 0 long time no see. You know me? Oh, you're forgetful. Shisheng raised his eyebrows but didn't continue. Instead, he changed his tone. I forgot that you're not human, Caesar. She was already unhappy with the alliance, and now she was even going to attack the mainframe? Great Aunt, please stop for a moment. It wasn't easy for him to get the mainframe to agree to this. If the mainframe went back on his word, there would be no turning back. 0 was silent for a while before a row of words appeared on the screen. Good luck. Then the screen disappeared. Shisheng smiled sinisterly. Caesar had a feeling that she was up to something, but she had already agreed. What else could she be up to? Caesar calmed himself down. We can start after I'm done with the arrangements. You can prepare the things you need. Caesar was indirectly reminding Shisheng to stock up some goods in her space. The iron sword was bound to her soul, so she could definitely take it with her. What they were testing was not a bare-handed counterattack, so Caesar naturally hoped that she would have as many trump cards as possible. That way, her chances of passing the test would be higher. Shisheng brought Feng Xi back to the Shi family's main residence. Because of the martial law, Yuchang couldn't leave the Blue Planet, and had been living in the main house. When Shisheng and Feng Xi returned, Yuchang hurried downstairs. Xiaosheng. Aunt Yu, I know what you want to say, but this is a special time. Aunt Yu, please stay here first. The capital star is too far away from the Blue Planet. If anything happens to you, I won't be able to get there in time. You don't want others to use you to threaten me, do you? Yuchang was slightly taken aback. Sigh, I didn't think it through. Although only a few people knew about their relationship, once it was discovered, they would definitely be used by others. When I'm done, I'll send you back to the capital star. Yuchang expressed her understanding. You do what you need to do. Auntie Yu won't cause trouble for you. Will you stay for dinner today? Yes. Shisheng nodded. Yuchang nodded repeatedly. Then I'll go prepare. Last time, the incident happened so suddenly that I didn't even get to drink your wine. This time, I'll make up for it. Shisheng watched Yuchang leave and brought Feng Xi to the ancestral hall behind the main residence. The elders from before were already waiting in the ancestral hall. Their eyes were lowered, and no one could tell what kind of expression they were wearing. Shisheng stood in front of them. Sorry to trouble you, elders. The elders looked up at the same time. There was only one expression on their faces, shock. She actually knew how to use honorifics? Was it going to rain red? Everyone thought of the recent rumors. She doted on this young master Feng Xi to the skies. They heard that she even got angry because of him. This is our duty. One of the elders spoke first. Young master Feng Xi, please come in. Feng Xi grabbed Shisheng's hand and didn't move. Shisheng comforted him. It's okay. Go in with them. If they dare to touch you, I'll make them pay 100-fold. The elders. Who would dare to touch him? You. Shisheng seemed to know what he was going to say. I can't go in. I'll wait for you outside. Don't get angry, okay? Feng Xi didn't let go. It was clear that if Shisheng didn't go in, he wouldn't go in. The elders felt awkward. Shisheng pulled Feng Xi to the side and explained in a low voice, Be good. They won't do anything to you. You just have to do as they say. It'll be done very quickly. Feng Xi pursed his lips and didn't say anything. He didn't agree or refuse. He didn't say anything at all. Shisheng was helpless. No matter how much he tried to coax him, Feng Xi would become arrogant because he was pampered to the extreme. He just wasn't willing. Let's go, little ancestor. Your father really owe you something. Only then did Feng Xi relax. When the elders saw that Shisheng wanted to go in with Feng Xi, their eyes widened. They wanted to stop them but didn't dare. In the end, only one elder said carefully, Master, this is against the rules. The rules. The elders didn't dare to say anything. They silently apologized in their hearts and followed Shisheng into the ancestral hall. The ancestral hall was still empty. Shisheng walked straight to the innermost wall. After feeling around for a while, he opened a door. There was only a sacrificial altar in the room, similar to the one used for the last ceremony of a wedding. The elders filed in from outside. Feng Xiai saw that there was a sandalwood box in their hands. "I'll do it myself. You guys can leave first. I'll call you when I'm done." Sheng took the sandalwood box and chased out the elders who wanted to say something. Since they were already in, they didn't care about the rules. Sheng had Feng Xiai lie on the altar. "Where do you want it tattooed?" Feng Xiai looked at him in confusion. "What?" "The clan emblem." Sheng opened the sandalwood box. "Everyone who enters the Shi family has to have it tattooed. It's supposed to be done by the respected elders in the family to show respect to the family." Feng Xiai didn't even listen to the rest. "Is it okay on my hand?" "It's okay, but I want to tattoo it on your waist." Sheng looked at him with a smile. "Waist?" Feng Xiai remembered that Sheng had tattooed him in another world, but his waist was very sensitive. He wanted a tattoo on it. Feng Xiai struggled for a while and slowly lifted the hem of his shirt. The cold air brushed past his skin, and he immediately had goosebumps. The weather was getting colder. Sheng kissed Feng Xi's face. "Call me if it hurts." Just as Sheng touched his waist, Feng Xi's body trembled. His face immediately flushed red. He bit his lip and looked down at his waist. A fair hand was holding his waist. The owner of the hand was lowering her head to take something out of the sandalwood box. Very good. The whole of meeting wine in the childhood plum has been filled. That's awesome. Should I fill it up or not? Don't ask me, I don't know either. Chapter 1420. The tattoo was more painful than Feng Xiai had imagined. The main reason was that the method of tattooing was different from what he knew. It was a very ancient method. After the tattoo was completed, Sheng let him rest for a while before calling the elders in. After a series of strange actions, he was finally allowed to leave the altar. "Congratulations, young Master Feng Xiai." The oldest of the elders stood up and lowered his eyes. "I wish you and the family had a long life together." "What's there to wish?" Feng Xiai felt strange, but he didn't say anything. He didn't want to talk to these people. "Sorry to trouble you, elders." Sheng answered on behalf of Feng Xiai. His tone gave them goosebumps, and they hurriedly bid farewell to Sheng. "This is our duty. You don't have to be so polite. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave." Sheng nodded slightly, indicating for them to leave. It was only later that Feng Xiai found out that the tattoo wasn't like what she said, that everyone who entered the Shi family would have to get it. With that tattoo, it meant that she would only have him for the rest of her life. Even if he was no longer around, she couldn't be with anyone else. This kind of tattoo was a very respectable existence in the Shi family. No one would easily choose to be alone in their life. Of course, this was a story for later. At this moment, Feng Xiai was lifting his shirt and looking at the lifelike silver tattoo on his waist. It was very painful just now, but now it didn't hurt at all. The tattoo seemed to have been on his waist since birth. It was impossible to tell that it was tattooed. Sheng put down his shirt. "Go back and take a look." Lifting his shirt in public? Asking for a beating. Yu Chang prepared a lot of food. She might have asked Shi Fang, but most of them were Feng Xi's favorite. It was rare that Feng Xiai wasn't picky and even praised Yu Chang. This meal could be considered to be a satisfying one. Caesar took a long time to prepare. Sheng and Feng Xiai waited for 3 days before he left the room. Sheng asked Shi Fang to go in and check. After confirming that there was nothing strange, he personally checked again. "Little Sheng, I won't harm you." Caesar followed behind Sheng. "When I was installing it, your men were watching from the side. Your Zhanlong guards were there, so I didn't dare to do anything." Sheng walked around the 2 transparent cabins in the middle. "If you want to tamper with it, will the Zhanlong guards find out? I swear if I did anything, you can punish me however you want. You swear as easily as eating." Caesar. "Don't you know that life is difficult, don't you? You won't have any friends like this." Well, she didn't have any friends anyway. "Hey, little Sheng. How did you turn Feng Xiai from a big pervert into a little lamb?" Caesar shifted the topic of gossip to Feng Xiai. Just as he finished speaking, a force quickly rushed over from the side. He didn't even have the chance to dodge, and was directly sent flying, crashing into the wall of the room. Caesar got up with an ashen face and looked at the door. The young man stood in the light, and the emotions on his face could not be seen clearly. However, from the vicious aura he was exuding, it was enough to imagine what his face was like. The young man slightly raised his hand and pulled in the air, and Caesar's body was sent flying to the side. "Little Sheng," Caesar shouted. "Tell him to stop." "Serves him right," Sheng coldly replied with 2 words. "Caesar. What kind of morality is this? He attacked without saying anything. Was it easy for him? Who could understand his grievances? He really wanted to cry. Feng Xiai really wanted to kill Caesar. In the end, Sheng stopped him, and Caesar barely managed to keep his life. Caesar was on the verge of tears and snot. He pointed at the 2 transparent cabins and said in a hoarse voice, "Just lie in there. Before you guys come out, the Zhanlong guards will guard this place until you guys complete the assessment, as you said." "What's the ratio of time flow?" "It can be ignored." Sheng narrowed his eyes. "The ratio of time flow in every spacetime is different. Are you trying to scare I?" Caesar felt humiliated. "Do you think the space administration is useless? If you don't even have this ability, why are you called the space administration? If you're so arrogant, why don't you do it yourself? Why are you looking for me?" "Caesar, I won't lower myself to your level." Sheng called Shifang in, and ordered him to guard this place. "Are you ready?" Sheng looked at Feng Xiai. Feng Xiai nodded. Sheng opened the transparent cabin, and let Feng Xiai lie in. Caesar limped over to operate it. A few people from the space administration wanted to come over, but they were frightened by Feng Xi's murderous aura. "It's okay. Just wait for me." Sheng comforted Feng Xiai. Only then did Feng Xi's murderous aura slowly fade away. All the procedures were ready. Caesar said, "I'll give you 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'll come in and close the cabin door." He waved his hand and signaled for everyone to leave. Only Sheng and Feng Xiai were left in the room. Sheng leaned on the edge of the cabin and stroked Feng Xi's forehead with his fingertips. Feng Xiai just looked at him with a faint smile. The 2 looked at each other like this, as if they wanted to imprint each other in their hearts. In the last 3 minutes, Sheng leaned over and pressed his lips against Feng Xi's forehead. He moved his lips down and bit Feng Xi's lips. The tip of his tongue easily pried open Feng Xi's lips and went in, dancing with his tongue. 3, 2, 1. Sheng let go of him. "Trust me. I'll find you." Feng Xiai panted and nodded slightly. "I'll wait for you." He didn't want to move. He just wanted to wait for her. No matter where he was, she would come and take him away. When Caesar came in, Sheng had already closed the cabin door. The young man's eyes were closed and he was peacefully lying inside like a sleeping beauty. Caesar couldn't help but admit that Feng Xiai was King handsome. Sheng leaned against the cabin door and looked into the void. His face was cold, but his lips were slightly curved. It seemed like he was laughing, but at the same time, it also seemed like he was mocking Feng Xiai. Caesar's heart skipped a beat. "I'll continue to follow you and provide you with some help." "Are you sure he'll help me?" It was good enough that Buttface didn't cause trouble for her. "Help." Caesar's expression became serious. "We're in the same boat now." Sheng looked at him and lay down in the cabin. Caesar hesitated for a moment, and asked someone to connect all the data. After checking that there were no problems, he closed the cabin door. The cabin door slowly fell. Just as it was about to close, a voice drifted out from inside. "I never admitted that we were in the same boat." Caesar. Why did he suddenly have a bad feeling? The 41st plane ending. Yes. The pits in the real world will end here. The rest will be filled after the end. The pits that will be filled after the end are as follows. Feng Xi's background. If I say I don't want to fill it, will you beat me to death? Ha ha ha. Sheng's background. I can write an extra chapter called Sheng's pitiful growth story. Is Xia Chu dead or alive? Caesar Ziramu buys trump card and family feud Shin Shing the 10 directions. Where will the 6 great families Goth royal family the alliance Red Moon Galaxy? This one doesn't seem to have any pits. Let's put it aside for now. And the girl who didn't have a name at the beginning, but was very awesome. F***CK, why are there so many pits? I'm so scared. Also, please fill in the other pits. I don't remember any of them. P.S. Let's take a side. Who do you think is the mastermind behind the scenes? Chapter 1421. Everyone knew that Chengxi had fought against at least a dozen best actors and actresses. Asterisk, is she dead? Did you call 110? Should we take her to the hospital? The driver who caused the accident has run away. What if she blames you for it? Let's wait for the ambulance. The cold rain fell on Shisheng's face. Her consciousness was a little blurry, and it took her a while to adapt. This feeling was completely different from the virtual world. She would feel uncomfortable when her soul entered someone else's body. Was she going to die again? This was how games were played. Why was it still like this? Can't you let me have a good time? Host, calm down. You'll die easily if you get too excited. The system reminded Shisheng. You're using someone else's body, so it must be a dead body. You can't enter someone who's not dead yet. So host, calm down. Calm down my ass. Where's I's sword? Hey, she seems to be moving. She's still alive. Hurry up and take her to the hospital. This is a life. Why are you so indifferent? Aren't you afraid that this girl will come to you after she dies? Perhaps the last sentence scared them, but they hurriedly carried Shisheng into a car and sent him to the nearest hospital. Because of the timely rescue, Shisheng was lucky to survive. Shisheng received the memory of this body when he was recuperating. The original owner was called Chengxi, and she was an agent. Chengxi studied acting and was once popular. But because of an accident, she had a scar on her forehead. She was short-lived in the entertainment circle and had no chance to enter the entertainment industry. But she didn't give up and turned to other agents. Maybe she was born to be an agent, or maybe it was her hard work. Anyway, Chengxi became one of the top people in the company. The most popular agents in the company were Chengxi and Shuiyuha. They were competitors and naturally didn't like each other. They fought for resources. Shuiyuha had connections with the higher-ups, so she always won. This year, the company was looking for a top manager, and at the same time, she would be promoted to the company's artist director. Shuiyuha was determined to get this position. However, when she found out that Chengxi had gotten the spot and that she had gotten in through the back door, she actually spent money to get people to create fake news, saying that Chengxi was unscrupulous in order to get resources. She slept with people, took drugs, and was usually a drug addict. Once the news came out, Chengxi was criticized in the industry and was besieged on all sides. The artistes under her had all abandoned her and looked for other branches. Chengxi had lost her top manager, and the company had fired her for having an indecent personal life. Chengxi was furious, but there was nothing she could do. She wanted to start all over again, but Shuiyuha didn't leave any room for her. Chengxi couldn't even go to other companies. In her days, she was hit by a car and died because she couldn't be saved in time. Shisheng only had memories and no plot. Therefore, she knew nothing except what had happened to this body. The difficulty of the game had increased. Host, please remember that this is the real world. It has nothing to do with the game. 1. Point. All. Nothing. Yes. Shut up. I don't want to listen to you right now. The system was very angry. Do you think the system is willing to speak? If you don't want to speak, then don't speak. Shisheng laid on the bed and organized her memories. The original owner's wish was to become the best manager. This wasn't difficult, but her current situation wasn't very good. It was best described as being abandoned by everyone. Feng Xiai, she didn't know which corner he was in, waiting for her to save him. She wanted to kill someone. Where's I's sword? Kacha kacha. The flashing lights made Shisheng come back to her senses. She turned around and looked at the door of the ward. 2 girls were taking pictures of her and pointing at her from time to time. It really is Chengxi. This woman is too shameless. She used such dirty methods to steal our sister Xian's resources. She deserves to be hospitalized. Post it on the internet, another girl urged. I'm posting it now. Let me write a headline that will attract people's attention. The two girls were staring at the screen and didn't notice that Shisheng had already walked over. She reached out and took the phones from their hands. Her eyes swept over the headline the girl had written. Chance encounter with Chengxi in the hospital. Karma is retribution. Shisheng raised her eyebrows slightly. Retribution. The woman had a very good-looking face, but the scar on her forehead looked too hideous. It ruined her beauty and was a little ugly. The two girls were stunned for a few seconds before they came back to their senses. They wanted to snatch the phone back. Give it back to me. Shisheng stepped back and raised her arm. The phone drew a beautiful arc in the air and fell out of the window. You, the owner of the phone, glared at Shisheng. What right do you have to throw my phone? Pick it back up. Shisheng raised the corner of her mouth. There was a smile on her face, but there was no trace of a smile in her eyes. She was frighteningly cold. Then what right do you have to take my picture? So what if I did? The girl said self-righteously. Aren't you just a loose woman? Women like you are the most disgusting. You can even serve such an old man. Are you willing to do anything to get resources? Now is the time to expose women like you. I did throw it away. What's wrong with that? Shisheng did not seem to hear the latter part of her words. Her expression did not change at all. The girl was so angry that her delicate face flushed red. I'm telling you, if you don't compensate me for my phone today, I won't let you off. I don't know how those men could bear to touch you with your looks. Aren't they afraid of being scared to death? Shisheng was taller than the two girls. She raised her chin slightly and looked at them disdainfully. Why didn't I scare you to death? The two girls were stunned at the same time. After a while, the girl shouted angrily. Have you no shame? No, Shisheng said arrogantly. The girl was speechless. This answer was obviously beyond the two girls' comprehension. They were stunned for a while, probably because they had never seen such an arrogant person who admitted that she was shameless. The girl took a deep breath. I don't care if you're shameless or not. Go and pick my phone up. Don't you have hands? Shisheng rolled her eyes. You threw it. Why can't you pick it up? Go and pick it up and apologize. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Oh, according to what you said, I should cut off your hands for taking photos of me, right? Shisheng rolled up her sleeves and looked around as if she was looking for a machete. The two girls' expressions changed slightly. They were already in the ward, but now that they had exited, they did not forget to yell. Let me tell you, Chengxi, there are many people out there who want to dig up dirt on you. Believe it or not, I just need to make a call and you'll be done for. Shisheng put her hands on her hips and laughed. Thank you for sending me to the headlines. The two girls were speechless. The first game after changing the mode was basically a dungeon. Shisheng had to figure out the rules first, so the most awesome part was yet to come. Chapter 1422. I've never seen a woman as shameless as you. The girl probably couldn't find the right words to describe Shisheng. Now I have. Shisheng took out the phone with a broken screen from the pocket of his hospital gown and skillfully pressed a button. Call the police if you need help. Hello, this is room 12 on the 3rd floor of the inpatient department of Tongren Hospital. Someone verbally attacked me and caused me a lot of trauma. If I commit suicide, it will be their fault. The girl seemed to be shocked. She stepped forward and picked up the phone that Shisheng had placed beside her ear. The phone fell to the ground and was completely broken into pieces. The girl stepped on it angrily and said, What are you talking about? What does it have to do with us if you commit suicide? Shisheng looked at the broken phone and smiled mischievously. Now, not only do you have to compensate me for my mental trauma, you have to compensate me for my phone too. Every problem that could be solved with money was not a problem. Problems that couldn't be solved with money were solved with guns. What? The two girls thought that they were hallucinating. She threw their phones away first, and now she dared to ask them to pay for it? She was crazy. It turned out that this woman was not only crazy, but also completely crazy. There was a police station near the hospital. After Sheng called the police, they quickly sent someone over to ask about what had happened. Sheng was in charge of the situation. She told the two girls that they had taken photos of her without her consent, and even tried to post them on the internet. They had violated her image rights and reputation rights, verbally attacked her, and even hit her. The two girls were stunned. Did this happen? Sheng said it in a serious manner. The police would have their own judgment after checking the surveillance footage. The two girls were in the wrong for disturbing the patient first. After the police confirmed what had happened, they asked the two girls to apologize to Sheng. Most people would restrain themselves in front of the police, and the two girls were no exception. Before the police arrived, there were not many onlookers outside. Once the police arrived, there were more onlookers. The two girls stood there with red faces and were in a stalemate, unwilling to apologize. At this moment, there was a commotion outside the door, and there seemed to be a scream. A woman wearing sunglasses came in. When the owner of the phone saw the woman, her eyes lit up. Cousin. After the assistant beside the woman came in, she immediately closed the door to block the commotion outside. Kupeixin took off her sunglasses, revealing an exquisitely made-up face. However, she glanced at the two girls impatiently. What's wrong with you two? Cousin, this woman bullied me, through my mobile phone and complained first. She asked me to apologize to her. You have to make a decision for me. The girl immediately grabbed Kupeixin and complained. Who are you? The policeman in charge didn't seem to recognize the person, and asked with a frown. Kupeixin had a surprised look on her face, as if she didn't know who she was. This is my cousin Kupeixin. She's the hottest celebrity right now. Don't you know her? You can often see my cousin on TV. The girl was very pleased with herself, and even looked at Sheng provocatively. Her cousin was here. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant. Sheng sneered. Kupeixin, the most popular starlet, was also the artist that Shueyuhe was currently supporting. Most of the resources in the hands of the original host had been snatched away by Shueyuhe and given to Kupeixin. It would be unreasonable if Kupeixin was still not popular. Managers didn't like each other and artists didn't like each other's managers. Kupeixin was also responsible for the original host's current situation. The policeman in charge of the case didn't buy it at all. What starlet? Don't interfere with our work. They were so busy working on the case that they didn't have time to care about celebrities. Even the pickpockets on the street were much more familiar than these celebrities. Kupeixin was embarrassed by the policeman, but she was an artist and couldn't lose her temper. Besides, she was in front of the policeman, so she could only hold it in. What did my cousin do to deserve an apology from a woman like her? Kupeixin looked at Sheng. Sheng didn't hold back and gave her a teasing smile. Kupeixin narrowed her eyes. How could this woman still laugh? Are you her cousin? The policeman asked. Kupeixin looked away and nodded her noble head. The policeman wrote 2 lines on the record and said in a professional tone, just in time. Discipline her in the future. This is a hospital. She broke into the ward, took photos of the patient, and even had a conflict with the patient. It's fine if nothing happened, but what if the patient has a heart attack? Will you be responsible for it? Apologize now and pay for the patient's phone. Do you have any objections? Kupeixin seemed to have heard something unbelievable. Do you know who she is? I don't care who she is. The policeman was a bit impatient. Your child was in the wrong first. What's wrong with apologizing to the victim? Kupeixin. No, cousin. She's the one who's talking nonsense. She threw my phone away first. That's why I had a conflict with her. If there's a mistake, it's her fault. Perhaps it was because she had a backer. The girl's confidence was obviously a lot stronger. If you didn't take photos of her, she would have thrown your phone away. The policeman reminded her with a straight face. This is a hospital, and she is a patient. Even ordinary people had the right to privacy, not to mention patients who needed to rest. Kupeixin looked back and forth between Sheng and the policeman. Was this woman in cahoots with the policeman? No matter what, this was a public place and there were so many people outside. If she made any news here, it would be very bad for her. After weighing the pros and cons, Kupei-shin patted the girl's shoulder under the impatient gaze of the policeman. Chin, apologize first. Cousin? Kupei-shin looked over. The girl immediately stomped her feet angrily and glared at Shisheng. I'm sorry. Why should she apologize? She had taken photos of her because her cousin always said that she was abominable. She subconsciously took photos when she saw her, but now she was being asked to apologize? Why? Shisheng didn't say anything. The policeman took it as a yes and asked Kupei-shin to pay for Shisheng's phone. The phone was of a mediocre brand and only cost 2,000 yuan. Kupei-shin didn't care about this small amount of money. She would deal with her slowly after she left the hospital. Kupei-shin wanted to pay the money directly, but Shisheng didn't want it. She could only ask her assistant to go out and buy a new phone. Chengxi, just you wait. Shisheng looked up at Kupei-shin while he was unwrapping the phone. He said in a strange tone, I'm so scared. Kupei-shin wasn't very smart. If it weren't for Shui Yuha's help and her pretty face, she wouldn't have been able to climb to her current position. What was there to be afraid of? She could kill this kind of person in minutes. Host, this is the real world. Not the virtual world, no. Asterisk appearance. Police. Chapter 1423. Popular actress appears in hospital, suspected to be pregnant. Before Kupei-shin could figure out how to deal with Shisheng, something had happened to her. It wouldn't have been a big deal if that was all, but there were a few other recent news articles about her going to a hotel with a man late at night. Although it had been clarified that it was the crew's fault, the fact that she went to the hospital seemed to be the truth. Kupei-shin called her agent immediately. Hello, Sister Shui, what should I do now? Shui Yuha questioned her. Why did you go to the hospital? Why didn't you tell me? Kupei-shin paused. I went to see a friend. Shui Yuha was obviously angry. You are a star. Why would you go see a friend? Do you know how many articles will be written about you going to the hospital? Haven't I taught you what a star should do and shouldn't do? I'm sorry, Sister Shui. I know I was wrong. Kupei-shin apologized immediately. She could only admit defeat. Talking back to Shui Yuha would only make her angrier. Shui Yuha scolded her for being brainless. Kupei-shin could only listen and apologize. When Shui Yuha was done scolding her, she gave her a solution. Don't show up. The company will deal with it. If this happens again, don't blame me for not helping you. You better reflect on yourself. Kupei-shin hung up with a sour expression. If her cousin hadn't called for help and said that Chengxi was there, she wouldn't have gone, but she wasn't pregnant. What was there to be afraid of? Thinking of this, Kupei-shin calmed down a lot. Shisheng looked at the latest news. Kupei-shin's suspected pregnancy was a big deal. But Shui Yuha quickly clarified that Kupei-shin wasn't pregnant, and that she had gone to the hospital to see a friend. They even posted a picture of her and her friend. The background was the hospital, and her friend was indeed wearing a hospital gown. The news died down a little. Then Shui Yuha's company, Mingyi Entertainment, released an announcement that Du Yayuan had taken on the role of the male lead in the TV series God of Heaven. Who was Du Yayuan? He was the most famous actor in the world. Once his news came out, Kupei-shin's news was naturally overshadowed. Shisheng's fingertips moved gently until he couldn't pull it anymore. The TV series Deity was a very popular novel IP. Not long ago, it was rumored that the TV series was in preparation. The director was also a famous director in the circle. After that, people from all walks of life had their eyes on this TV series. Before the original owner was kicked out of the company, she had an artist under her management. She originally wanted to fight for this artist. In a TV series with such a big director, the female lead would definitely not be chosen, so the host planned to fight for the second female lead. But before she could even start preparing for it, something happened and that artist abandoned her very quickly. The host wanted to be an awesome manager. She wasn't worried about getting the role. She just had to threaten them. If it didn't work, she would just throw money at them. The most important thing now was, she didn't have any artists. How could a commander without an army fight? Forget it. Let's make money first. If she didn't make money now, By the time she found Feng Xiai, with the speed at which he spent money, she would have to eat dirt again. Shisheng took the original owner's savings. The original owner had made a lot of money in the past few years, but because of what happened a few days ago, she squandered most of it. So now the only thing she had left was a house. Shisheng mortgaged the house and took a loan from the bank as the principal. Ku Peixin had suffered a loss because of her, so she naturally wouldn't let her go. She joined forces with Shui Yuha to continue slandering her. Shisheng occasionally glanced at it, but only treated it as entertainment. For someone like her who had seen all kinds of big scenes, how could she be scared by something like this? Lai Lai Bei Feng Liang. Why don't people like her just die? It's really disgusting. It's because of people like her that there are so many talented stars who can't make it big. Yuzi. She could even survive a car accident. She really is a scourge. 1,000 miles away. Aren't you guys being too disrespectful? Unforgettable. Human? Of course we respect people, but is she even human? Look at all the things she has done. She slept with others to get resources. In order to climb up the social ladder, she framed her colleagues. For the sake of her own artiste, she even defamed other artistes. Cheng Shivi. I'm sorry for making you guys worry. Why don't I see you guys worrying about your ancestral grave? As soon as Shisheng's Weibo post came out, the first thing he saw was a row of ellipses, followed by all kinds of abuse. Black magpie flying south. Xiaoming, get out of here. Kuxingyun. F***ck. She had never seen such a shameless manager. She was disgusting. She would be blacklisted for life. Shisheng clicked on the attached photo. It was an emoticon of hers. She had no idea where the photo was taken, but it happened to show the scar on her forehead. The caption was, I'm ugly, I'm just shameless. Cheng Shivi. I'm the only one in the family. If you feel embarrassed for me, why don't you die for me? Below it was another row of ellipses. She had probably never seen a manager who didn't care about her image and fought with others like this. That's not right. Now that she was no longer a manager, was she planning to let go of herself? Shisheng, who had let go of his ego, put down his phone, turned on his computer, and started his boring work. So what were you doing just now? To save my crazy self. How are you saving yourself? You're driving the netizens crazy. Yao Yaoling will come and catch you, you know. Shisheng's daily routine was to fight against anti-fans, let loose, eat, sleep, play games, and make money. Listen to this, damn, making money is all in passing. Shisheng had stayed at home for more than half a year. She had built a deep friendship with her anti-fans. Normal anti-fans would start scolding her as soon as they saw her. Her anti-fans came right up to her. Should I fight or not? When was he going to do that? Are you done yet? When are you going to come online? Did you oversleep again? Can't you be on time? Can't you be more professional? Don't want to see. I guess she won't come online until 12 o'clock today. Yesterday, I saw her fooling around until 3 o'clock in the morning. That girl was so badly scolded. Sunset. She's really pitiful. Naturally disillusioned. She's really pitiful plus 10086 helplessness. Is this girl doubting life right now? Between the clouds. She hasn't worked for more than half a year. How come she hasn't starved to death? I'm curious how she's so strong and survived until now. Cheng Shivi cultivation. The netizens. Cultivation? What kind of cultivation? Asterisk hashtag today. I'm looking for votes hashtag double monthly votes. Can you guys work harder? Hashtag. Chapter 1424. Shisheng interacted with the haters while instructing the taxi driver to stop in front of a building. After getting out of the car, she turned on the camera and took a picture of the building before posting it on Weibo. Chengxi. Blue sky and white clouds, murder and arson. Picture Luoyang. Damn, are you going to bomb Shangying Film and Television? Hua Fei Xue. Isn't today the press conference for God of Heaven? It seems to be held at Shangying Film and Television. What is she going to do there? Little brother. Who is Hua Fei Xue? How could ancient poets be so filthy? Oh. Zhang Xian will jump up and beat you to death. Compared to the sun. You guys are going off topic. The internet was in an uproar. Shisheng browsed for a while before putting away her phone and walking casually to Shangying Film and Television. At this time, there were many reporters outside Shangying Film and Television. The casting for God of Heaven had been dragging on for half a year and was finally going to be announced today. They were all small reporters who were not invited and could only wait outside. Although Shisheng did not appear in public for the past half a year, she was active on the internet like a fake account. Therefore, when she appeared, people noticed her. Hey, isn't that Chengxi? What is she doing here? She has been fired for a long time and should not have any artists under her. Who knows what she is doing here? I am very convinced that she can still fight with the netizens after that incident and most importantly win. I heard that she can fight back until you start to doubt your life. I wonder if it's true. Go to her Weibo and you will know. A reporter took a picture of Shisheng and posted it on Weibo. Who knew that the replies he received were all I knew it? It's already on the hot search list, do you still need to tell me? You guys are not professional and so on. The reporter was dumbfounded. He clicked on the hot search list and saw that it was updated 10 minutes ago. Number 16 was Blue Sky and White Clouds, Murder and Arson. How many haters did Chengxi have? She must have spent money. The reporter clicked on the homepage that he had not seen for a long time and suddenly realized that this manager's fans had exceeded 7 figures. Damn. Shisheng walked past the group of reporters. The security guard took a look at the things she handed over and quickly let her pass. The reporters started to doubt their lives. This person, who had been silent for half a year, had found his backer and made a comeback. Shisheng stepped into Shangying Film and Television. There was a group of people in the lobby who seemed to have come in from the back door. They were being escorted to the elevator. The two sides met in the lobby. Shisheng glanced at them calmly and walked to the elevator first. What is she doing here? Ku Peixing grabbed the woman next to her, surprised and angry. The woman was in her 30s and was dressed professionally. She looked very capable and had the appearance of a strong woman. This was Shui Yuha. At first, Shui Yuha and Ku Peixing tried to smear Shisheng's reputation. But later, they realized that they didn't need to do so. Moreover, she wasn't going to appear again, so they didn't bother about her anymore. Anyway, it was impossible for her to return to this circle. Who knew that they would see her so unexpectedly at such an important time today? Shui Yuha turned to look at the staff and pointed at the Shisheng. What's wrong with you guys? Why did you let just anyone in? Shui Yuha didn't go up to Shisheng directly. This was someone else's territory, so it was better to let them handle it. Shisheng narrowed his eyes. This Shui Yuha was very smart. The staff glanced at Shisheng. He probably knew her and knew her reputation. He immediately shouted at the security guards behind him. Why did you let her in? Is this a place where she can come in? Hurry up and take him out. The security guards behind him heard him and immediately stepped forward. Just then the elevator opened. Shisheng dashed in and pressed the button to close the door. The security guards were some distance away from her, so they didn't stop her. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and find her. The staff shouted at the security guards who were a little confused. Shui Yuha's face was dark. The staff smiled and promised that they wouldn't let Shisheng cause trouble. Shisheng looked at the number jumping up and down. Finally, it stopped at the 16th floor. Today's press conference was held on the 16th floor, so there were many people coming and going. Shisheng kept a low profile, so no one noticed her at the moment. Shisheng looked around but couldn't find her. He took out his phone and called her. The call went through immediately. Where are you? She replied quickly, Sister Chengxi, there's a traffic jam. I'm still on my way. Will I be late? Has the press conference started? Shisheng. How far are you? About 15 minutes. Come over. Shisheng hung up. He didn't hear the wailing on the other side. She had done a lot of work in the past 6 months. She had been at the film studio for half a month before she found a promising artist. No, it was just a little girl who played a small role. She was still studying, came from an ordinary family, and was as beautiful as a rose. She was passionate and loved acting. She was talented and could draw inferences from one example. Even though she was just a small role, she was very serious about it. Although her acting skills were inexperienced, she would definitely become popular in the future. Shisheng didn't have the plot to help her, so she could only rely on her own judgment. If she chose the right one, she would soar to the top. If she chose the wrong one, she would have to start all over again. She was really casual. Shisheng found a staff member and handed over the information. After the staff member verified it, she was brought backstage. Wait here first. The press conference will start in half an hour. Tell your artist to hurry up. She's just a supporting actress. The staff member's tone was a little disdainful. Everyone in the industry knew about Cheng Shi's reputation. Who knew how she got the role? The staff member left the room after saying that. There were still some people in the room who had been pointing at her since she came in. She's Cheng Shi. I really don't know what her face is made of. How dare she come out to manage an artist? The artist who follows her is really unlucky. Shisheng glanced at the people in the room and pulled a chair over to sit down. He crossed his legs and said, "If you have anything to say it out loud. I'll pardon you." Everyone. Was this person really crazy? Pardon you? Did he think he was an emperor? Being a Chunibyu was still an illness. It had to be treated. It was fine if Shisheng ignored them, but now that he was so blatantly asking them to speak, they really didn't dare to say anything. Thus, they turned around and talked to the people around them. These people could be said to be important or not, and could be said to be unimportant or unimportant. They weren't the main cast, so they didn't have the guts to challenge Shisheng. Bang! The door suddenly opened and a few security guards appeared at the door. They looked around the room and strode toward Shisheng. They said in a tough tone, "Miss, please leave." "Why?" Shisheng asked calmly. The security guards. She actually asked them why. "You barged in without permission. We're already giving you face by not throwing you out. Don't make things difficult for everyone. Please leave. This is not a place where you can come. Asterisk, this is a fake group. Shisheng. I heard that you guys want to throw me out. Cherub, who said that? Kill them. Iron Sword, kill them. Security guards. Spare us. We're just following orders. We'll give you all the tickets. We'll give you all the tickets." Chapter 14:25. Everyone's curiosity was piqued, but the next second, they realized something was wrong. Didn't the staff say that she had an artist? In order not to be implicated, everyone stepped aside and left the main battlefield to them. Shisheng looked at the security guards calmly. "Why can't I be here? Is there a notice saying that Cheng Shi can't enter?" The security guards were speechless. The higher-ups said to throw her out, so she definitely wasn't qualified to be here. The security guards gave Shisheng a look and were about to drive him away. Today was an important day. If they messed it up, they might lose their jobs. Shisheng wouldn't let them succeed. He easily avoided them and knocked them down. Everyone was speechless. Did he go to the martial arts class? What's going on? The press conference is about to start. What are you doing here? Don't you have anything better to do? There was a sudden scolding outside and a few people came in. The person who had brought Shisheng in was also there. His face darkened when he saw the security guards lying on the ground. "What are you doing here?" The security guard clutched his stomach and pointed at Shisheng with a trembling finger. She sneaked in. Xiao Wang told us to throw her out, but she hit people. The staff member listened to the story. Although he didn't like Shisheng, he still explained, "She brought an artist here. The people outside let her in. Don't you know how to verify? All right, get out of here." The security guards looked at each other for a moment, then hurriedly got up from the ground and left the room. The staff member didn't apologize. Instead, he scolded the people outside and left. Shisheng reached out and pulled the chair back. He sat back down and played with his phone as if nothing had happened. Everyone was impressed by his calmness. If they had encountered such a situation, even if they hadn't quarreled, they wouldn't have let it go. But on second thought, with her current reputation, there was nothing wrong with keeping the peace. Outside the door, Shui Yuha looked inside with cold eyes. She had brought an artist here. Shui Yuha stopped the staff member who was about to leave. The staff member's expression changed immediately. Sister Shui, you're here. Your lounge is over there. There's still a while before the press conference starts. You can rest first. Shui Yuha nodded and asked casually, why is Chengxi here? The staff member smiled and said, oh, she managed a small artist and was chosen as the 4th female lead. I don't know who got her in through the back door. Artist? She could even manage an artist? Who in this industry would still want to work with her? I heard that the little artist hasn't graduated yet. She won't amount to much. The staff member told Shui Yuha everything he knew. By the time Shui Yuha left, she had already learned a lot about the little artist that Shisheng was managing. She immediately felt relieved. Chengxi V. The security guards of Shangying Film and Television are very cute. Your company probably didn't pay them IQ tax. IQ is a good thing. I suggest your company not be so stingy. At Shangying Film, Shisheng's Weibo post, together with her previous post, immediately pushed Shangying Pictures to the top of the hot search list. Originally, Shangying Pictures was the focus of everyone's attention today. If an ordinary person had tagged them, they might not have noticed. But this was Chengxi, the Chengxi who spent all day arguing with anti-fans online. In the process of arguing with each other, she could write a 1 million-word romance novel. Don't underestimate the power of anti-fans. When they unite, they are much more powerful than true fans. Su hang 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 hang. Oh, Chengxi went to Shangying Pictures again. Half-life madness. You didn't even let the security guards off. You're crazy. Shang Ritian. She went to Shangying Pictures today just to argue with the security guards? Why do I feel that the big move is coming up? Xiaoming, get out of here. I'll wait. The anti-fans calmly analyzed why Shisheng went to Shangying Pictures. Some even said that she went there to carry out a terrorist attack. This time, Ku Peixin was the female lead. Since Shisheng was kicked out of the company, Ku Peixin and her manager benefited the most. These two people were probably the ones that she hated the most. Chengxi V. I'm a good citizen who abides by the law. I don't care about terrorist attacks. Everyone. There was nothing wrong with the first sentence, but what did she mean by, you don't care about terrorist attacks? Was she looking down on Shangying Pictures or the law? There was no response from Shangying Pictures. They probably didn't know what was going on and didn't dare to say anything. When Shisheng's artist arrived, she had already fought 300 rounds on the internet and defeated all the anti-fans. She put her phone back into her pocket and looked up at the young girl who was panting. The young girl was bright and energetic. Her hair was tied up behind her head, and she was dressed casually. She looked like a college student. What's the use of this? She was here for a press conference, not a sports meet. Shisheng looked at her with disdain. You came dressed like this? The young girl looked at herself while panting. Sister Chengxi, is there anything wrong with that? Shisheng smiled. At which press conference did you see a girl dressed like you? The young girl thought about it, and her face fell. But I'm poor. Didn't I send you a gown? Ah, I haven't opened it yet. The young girl looked regretful and looked at Shisheng helplessly. I had class that day and forgot about it when I went back. Sister Chengxi, what should I do now? Shisheng face-bombed. She should have found a has-been star. This kind of poor girl who didn't know anything was the CEO's cup of tea. Shisheng took a deep breath and posted on Weibo on his phone. Chengxi, which cutie can help me send a gown to Shangying Studio in 10 minutes? I'll give you a chance to see me in person. Picture of this gown. As soon as the post was posted, there were people who were waiting for a good show. Of course, there were also people who nodded at the girl in Shisheng's picture. The young girl was very good-looking. She leaned against a tree and looked up at the sky, revealing her perfect side profile. Sister Chengxi, what should I do now? The young girl looked at Shisheng playing with his phone, and was about to cry. Oh, see if any CEO likes you and sends you a gown. Shisheng answered casually. It's just a supporting role anyway. It's not important. The young girl stared at Chengxi. What was Sister Chengxi talking about? A CEO sending a gown? Did she think she was writing a romance drama? The young girl grabbed Shisheng's hand. This is the first time I've received such a serious role. Will I be able to get it in time if I go back now? There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. What's the hurry? Shisheng was still calm. The young girl was speechless. This was her first time. Ding. Fei Yu measurements height. Shisheng raised his eyebrows and clicked on the girl's profile picture. The number of fans was average and didn't exceed 4 digits. Shisheng sent the young girl's measurements and height. The girl replied with an OK sign and sent a picture over. Fei Yu. I've sent someone to send it over. It will arrive at Shangying Studio in 10 minutes. Shisheng handed the phone to the young girl. Here, your CEO is here. Go down and welcome him. Chapter 1426. The girl stared at the picture on the phone and her eyes widened. This dress is so beautiful. Shisheng took the phone back and said with a straight face, Go down and get the dress. Huh? The girl was stunned. You're really going? He's not kidding, is he? This manager of hers. Well, her reputation was terrible. Who would really help her? Shisheng looked at the girl, and she was terrified. She hurried down the stairs to get the dress. However, she didn't expect that she would get the dress and that the other party would give her a business card. The girl went back upstairs in a daze. Sister Chengxi, the person who delivered the dress, gave me a business card and said that they want me to be the spokesperson for their new spring collection. Oh, it's a blessing in disguise. That's good, Shisheng said faintly. Go and get changed. Can you put it on yourself? Oh, Shisheng took the name card and looked at it. Her eyes narrowed. I might have randomly picked up an incredible creature, the female lead. Caesar said that there were female leads in the real world, and there was more than one. However, in a region, there could only be one female lead. If the female leads gathered together, it would ruin things. The female lead in this place was most likely this naive girl that she had picked up. She was optimistic, kind, and confused from time to time. Most importantly, she was unbelievably lucky. When she got the role, the director had agreed to let her audition after some effort. However, after the audition, the director decided that she was the one. Who else but the female lead could have such luck? Shisheng didn't make the final decision. He decided to wait and see. The dress that the other party sent was a white dress. It was simple and elegant, with an irregular design and a tassel belt around the waist. It was very elegant when she walked, and it matched the young lady's complexion very well. It looked fresh and cute on her, as if it was tailor-made for her. There were also shoes and jewelry. It was obviously a set. The girl came out of the changing room, and everyone's eyes were fixed on her. When they heard that she didn't bring any clothes, they were gloating. Who would have thought that she would come out in such an outfit? Do I look good? The girl stood in front of Shisheng and asked nervously. Yes. Shisheng took a picture of her. Do you have Weibo? Ah. The little girl nodded in confusion. Yes, but I don't use it often. Shisheng said as he typed on his phone. If it's a private Weibo account, delete it as soon as possible. From today onwards, you have to live a life without any privacy. The young lady hurriedly took out her phone and deleted the few Weibo posts on it. Then, she followed Shisheng's instructions and changed her name to her real name, Yuan Ruola. Unfortunately, someone had already registered. She tore the name apart and tried several times, but someone still registered. Ruola of the Yuan family. The little girl finally changed her name. She followed her manager, and a message popped up. Chengxi V. Thank you Feiyu sponsorship. You don't have to thank me for the free advertisement. At Yuan Jia Ruola, my artist, please take care of her in the future. It doesn't matter if you slander me, but please be careful. She is an innocent little girl. If I find out that someone is playing tricks behind her, I promise that the internet police will invite you to tea at your house. Picture. The first thing everyone saw was the little girl in the picture. She was wearing a white gown. The little girl lowered her head slightly with a shy expression on her face. She looked at the camera shyly and timidly. Her eyes were captured very well. She was simply a little fairy. It had to be said that Yuan Ruola was very photogenic. That ordinary profile picture just now made many people stare blankly at her. At this time, this picture directly attracted fans. Yuan Ruola saw that her fans had increased by a lot after refreshing the page. She was dumbfounded from the beginning to the end. Su family's little Langjun. Ah, what a cute little fairy. Tian Cancan. Why did she take things so hard and follow Chengxi? Hey, little brother. Someone actually sent her clothes? Today is an eye-opener. Emergency rescue can be done in this way. Your little pink upstairs. You will never understand how Chengxi's brain works. Heaven on earth. Blah blah blah. Yuan Ruola looked at these comments and carefully forwarded them. Yuan family's Ruola. Please take care of her. Chengxi. Thank you Feiyu sponsorship. No need to thank me for free advertising. At Yuan family's Ruola, my artist. Please take care of her in the future. It doesn't matter if you slander me, but please be careful. She is an innocent little girl. If I find out that someone is behind this, I promise that the internet police will treat you to tea at your house. Picture Feiyu, you're welcome. Chengxi. Thank you Feiyu sponsorship. No need to thank me for free advertising. At Yuan family's Ruola, my artist. Please take care of her in the future. It doesn't matter if you slander me, but please be careful. She is an innocent little girl. If I find out that someone is behind this, I promise that the internet police will treat you to tea at your house. Picture goer. Feiyu, you're welcome. Chengxi. Thank you Feiyu sponsorship. No need to thank me for free advertising. At Yuan family's Ruola, my artist. Please take care of her in the future. It doesn't matter if you slander me, but please be careful. She is an innocent little girl. If I find out that someone is behind this, I promise that the internet police will treat you to tea at your house. Picture. The last repost was from one of the most popular fashion brands. This was an official account, so it wouldn't repost such a message for no reason, unless, with this repost, Yuan Ruola's fan count skyrocketed. Shisheng patted Yuan Ruola, who was still in a daze, and said, "You're the female lead." How lucky was she to be able to pick up the female lead so casually? She could go buy a lottery ticket later. Maybe she would win the lottery? Huh. Yuan Ruola looked at her agent in a daze. What? At this time, everyone's attention was on the TV series Celestial God. What Shisheng did didn't cause too much of a stir. The press conference for Celestial God officially started. Yuan Ruola didn't have time to think about this and hurriedly followed the others. Characters like them naturally had to be the last to go on stage. Once they went on stage, they would make their appearance. Whether they could be photographed or not depended entirely on their own skills. It was Yuan Ruola's first time participating in such an event. She didn't have much experience, and was squeezed into a corner. She looked a little helpless and pitiful. Chengxi, I'm going to start the live broadcast now. You all should be quiet. Don't think about how to scold me all day long. Will I lose a piece of meat if you scold me? If you have the ability, come and fight me directly. Whoever is a coward is an idiot. All the anti-fans. They were convinced that she was so ambitious. When Shisheng said live broadcast, he was actually recording a video. Small videos were sent out one by one. This press conference was live broadcast, but what was seen on the camera was what the officials wanted them to see. Shisheng's video was different. He chose all kinds of interesting places to record, and also very leisurely added a short paragraph to it. From another angle, everyone realized that what was happening on camera and what was happening outside were two completely different things. The above content was pure nonsense and had nothing to do with reality. Don't take it seriously. Chapter 1427. In public, Shisheng's video wasn't a big deal. It just damaged her image and made her fans change their ways. For example, a certain star was smiling in front of the camera, but when she turned her head and the camera couldn't see her face, she became impatient. The female lead of Deity was Ku Peixin, and the male lead was Duya Yuan. Both of them were artists under Shui Yuha. Shui Yuha was in the limelight. Shui Yuha was very smart. Shisheng felt that it was a bit troublesome to compete with her, so she decided to beat her up tonight to avenge the original owner. Host, you can beat people up if you want to. Why are you dragging the original owner into this? When did she ever think about the original owner? Okay, I won't drag the original owner into this. I'll kill her tonight. It was wrong. It shouldn't have said so much. It would go offline, okay? Master, are you sure she won't destroy the real world? Sure enough, the camera rarely fell on Yuan Ruola. Shisheng had to do it himself. After all, she was a big shot with 7 figures of fans. Although they were anti-fans. As soon as Yuan Ruola's video was posted, there was a row of comments below. Happy every day. She filmed other people so casually, but she filmed her own artist so well. She's really her biological daughter. And Sheng. Am I the only one who thinks that it's because the little fairy is beautiful? I get out. I'm a fan now. Little fairy fan. Chengxi is an anti-fan. Chengxi V. I'm a professional agent. Anti-fans. You're using your professionalism to attack people. Also, they're holding a press conference, but you're doing a small video broadcast here. What professionalism? You have the nerve to say that. Believe it or not, Shangying Film and Television will make trouble for you. After the press conference, the media dispersed and prepared to go back to write their reports. But as soon as they went out, they saw the video being posted everywhere by Shisheng. All the reporters. Did she become a paparazzi instead of an agent? It was such a serious press conference, but she used such a paparazzi method to expose all the highlights that could be exposed. Flips table, how were they going to play? When the artists found out that they had been defamed by Shisheng, they contacted her online and asked her to delete the video. Shisheng played dead the whole time and didn't respond at all. Shangying Film and Television contacted her and asked her to delete the video on the grounds of infringement. Shisheng's reply was long, and the general idea was, that was a public event, a press conference. She didn't say that only those with a photography license could take the photos, nor did she say that it couldn't be uploaded online. Moreover, she was just adding to their popularity. She's such a living Leifeng. You don't have to thank her too much. Shangying Film was furious, but she also understood that Shisheng was taking revenge on the security guards. She still had an artist who was going to participate in this TV series, yet she dared to play around like this. Not only was Shangying Film and Television impressed, but everyone on the internet was also impressed. This manager must be crazy. However, this incident also let everyone know that although the 4th female lead of Celestial God, Yuan Ruola, was not as popular as the main cast, she was far more popular than the other supporting roles. The professional agent was taking Yuan Ruola to a meeting. Yuan Ruola was still wearing the same clothes. She was scrolling through her phone and reading to Shisheng how the internet was criticizing her. Sister Chengxi, is it really okay? Yuan Ruola finished reading and looked at Shisheng anxiously. She had offended the whole crew. She never thought that her manager would be so cruel when it came to offending people. She didn't just offend one person at a time. She offended a whole bunch of people. What are you afraid of? Shisheng looked arrogant. Do you really think that I want you to become popular because of this show? Yuan Ruola stared at Shisheng blankly as usual. I'm just using you to gain popularity. Look, you're much more popular than them now. Shisheng pointed at the number of fans on her screen. Sister Chengxi, you didn't plan this, did you? The car stopped. Shisheng opened the door and got out. Yuan Ruola hurriedly followed him. Shisheng looked up at the darkening sky and tilted his head slightly. You have to learn to analyze and use your advantages. What were her advantages? She had a large number of anti-fans. In the past 6 months, these anti-fans had built a deep relationship with her. She could use this to easily push Yuan Ruola out. She didn't expect to have any obvious effects, but she didn't expect to have an unexpected gain from egoer. Life was full of surprises. Who knew if the next step would be a surprise? Therefore, people had to have hope. Yuan Ruola looked at the woman in front of her. She seemed to have a power that made people believe in her. As long as they believed in her, any miracle could happen. She suddenly felt that Sister Chengxi was so cool. Later, if someone asks you to agree to some strange conditions, such as making you famous and then marrying him, would you agree? The pink bubble in Yuan Ruola's mind was shattered by Shisheng's words. She looked at Shisheng in disbelief. Sister Chengxi, you want me to sell my body? Shisheng's face was cold. I'm just asking you, will you agree? Of course not. Yuan Ruola fiercely refused. I won't sell my love for my career. And I hope you'll remember that. Shisheng lifted her foot and walked forward. Yuan Ruola blinked and caught up with Shisheng. Sister Qingxi, what do you mean? Nothing, I'm just asking you. According to the usual plot, this was usually the case. The naive girl who hadn't entered the entertainment industry, yet didn't know how dangerous it was. At first, she would stubbornly refuse the CEO, but after the CEO deliberately or unintentionally suppressed her, she would understand the darkness of the industry and obediently return to the CEO's side to be a canary. From then on, she would embark on a bright road and live happily with the CEO. Host, since you suspect that the other party might be the male lead, why did you bring her to see him? The system couldn't understand with its low intelligence. What does it have to do with me? How is it none of your business? Isn't it your style to throw money at others? My money is reserved for Feng Xi. The system was speechless. Yuan Ruola couldn't imagine that Shisheng had already made an appointment with Igor, and even discussed the terms of the contract while she was at the press conference. At this moment, she was sitting in the private room and was still in a daze. #my manager seems to be a little amazing. If Miss Yuan and Miss Cheng feel that there is no problem, we will enter the formal contract stage. The man opposite her was modest and polite. One look and you could tell that he was doing big things. No wonder he was from a big company. Yuan Ruola thought so and didn't hear what the man said clearly. She only heard Shisheng mention a few requests, and the other party seemed to be in a difficult position. Both sides had their own opinions, and in the end, Shisheng won by not giving in. Miss Cheng is very capable. The man smiled and stood up. Our CEO wants to talk to you alone. I wonder if Miss Cheng has time. I said I don't have time. Is your CEO going to ban me? The other party smiled and didn't say anything, but his meaning was obvious. She was right. Chapter 1428. The CEO's surname was Lin Juncheng. It was obvious that this was not an ordinary name. The moment Shisheng entered, she sized him up. From head to toe, from inside to outside, this fellow exuded the aura of I'm the male lead. It's pretty close. Miss Cheng, please take a seat. The man was expressionless, but his tone was calm. Shisheng sat down and waited for him to continue. Lin Juncheng was a little surprised by Shisheng's calmness. Miss Cheng, do you have a company? Shisheng's lips curved. Mr. Lin, are you going to open a company for me? Lin Juncheng was speechless. There was no pattern to this at all. He straightened his body and looked at the woman in front of him more seriously. This woman was different from all the other women he had dealt with. Miss Cheng, I can open a company for you, but I have a condition. Make Yuan Ruola famous? Lin Juncheng was speechless. How am I supposed to talk like this? Can't you follow the pattern? Shisheng rolled his eyes in his heart. This was indeed the male lead. Yuan Ruola is my artist. Of course I will make her famous. Mr. Lin, you don't have to worry about her. Lin Juncheng quickly recovered. Miss Cheng, do you think you can still survive in this industry after offending me? Shisheng looked indifferent. I have so many anti-fans. I don't care if you're one more. Lin Juncheng narrowed his eyes. Don't you know the Lin family's influence? Are you trying to use your power to suppress me? Yes, you're very powerful. You're the boss here. But I'm alone. What are you going to use to threaten me? Shisheng paused. On the contrary, I have Yuan Ruola now. Do you think she will choose you or me? This woman. If you have any improper thoughts, you can go to her directly. If she agrees, I won't say anything. Just pretend that I don't have this artist. Shisheng stood up and looked at Lin Juncheng with a half-smile. Of course, if you dare to use any means to threaten her, I will let you know that the Lin family is nothing more than this. That naive girl was under her protection now. How could she let her go so easily? Why would the female lead succumb to the male lead? Why would she hate him so much, but at the same time, develop an attachment to the male lead and fall in love with him? This was because when the female lead was in her most difficult times, although the male lead would torment the female lead, When the female lead was bullied or misunderstood, he would come out to protect her. People are at their most vulnerable when they need protection. Shisheng left the office arrogantly. Lin Juanqing's calm face immediately darkened, and his eyes were filled with a sharp and ruthless light. He had never seen such an arrogant woman. A mere manager actually dared to challenge him. "President, do you still want to sign the contract?" The man who had been staying in the inner room came out and asked carefully. Lin Juanqing was silent for a moment. "Sign." Yuan Ruola was still in a daze as she walked out of the office. She had actually managed to secure Igor's spring endorsement. The entire day felt like a dream. Yuan Ruo was drifting in the front passenger seat. She did not notice that Shisheng had parked the car outside a residential area. Yuan Ruo drifted for about 5 minutes before she realized that the car had stopped, and Shisheng was playing a game with his head down. She looked around. It was a complete stranger. She had no choice but to ask Shisheng, "Sister Chengxi, what are we doing here?" Shisheng said concisely, "We're waiting for someone." Waiting for someone? Waiting for who? Shisheng was completely engrossed in his game and ignored her. Yuan Ruola could only lean against the car window and look out. Just as she was about to fall asleep, Shisheng suddenly opened the car door and got out. Yuan Ruola was startled awake and hurriedly got out of the car. Shisheng walked towards the residential area. Yuan Ruola wanted to follow him, but Shisheng asked her to wait in the car. Yuan Ruola was very obedient to Shisheng now. Naturally, she did not dare to disobey him and obediently waited in the car. Shisheng came back about half an hour later. He did not look any different from when he left. He even seemed a little happier. Shisheng got into the car and started it. "Sister Chengxi, what did you do just now?" "Hit someone." Yuan Ruola said. "Hit someone, hit someone?" She looked at Shisheng abruptly. "Who did you hit?" "Shui Yuha." "Shui Yuha?" The Shui Yuha who was not on good terms with Sister Chengxi? After spending some time with her, she knew that she was completely different from the person she was described to be half a year ago. Those news articles must have been about Shui Yuha framing Sister Chengxi. But hitting someone, that was illegal. Yuan Ruola immediately panicked. "Sister Chengxi, will she cause trouble for you if you hit her? What if she sues you?" "I'll sue her as long as she can find evidence that I hit her." What a joke. Did she think that her years of experience in hitting people were for nothing? Yuan Ruola heaved a sigh of relief. That was not right. Shouldn't she be concerned about breaking the law first? By the time Yuan Ruola realized what had happened, she had already been sent back to school by Shisheng. After she went back, her roommates kept asking her questions. Her photos were all over the internet now. After dealing with her roommates, Yuan Ruola no longer had the energy to think about breaking the law. When she woke up the next day, she was so busy that she forgot about the incident. Shisheng helped her with the school's procedures, so that she did not have to go back to school. Her roommates were envious. They were still studying, but Shui Yuha had already stepped into the entertainment industry. Shui Yuha had been hit for no reason. She did not know who had done it and felt very aggrieved. Hence, she was also annoyed by Ku Peixin's stupidity. When Shui Yuha was told that the endorsement she had been negotiating had already been signed, she was dumbfounded. She was furious. Igor was a high-end brand, so their spokesperson had to be at the top. Even if it was not a movie queen, it had to be a popular celebrity. She had already asked around and found out that those who had the ability to take on the endorsement were all busy. With Ku Peixin's popularity, she was the most promising candidate. But now, someone had signed her for no reason? As long as Ku Peixin took on this endorsement, her endorsement fees would be much higher in the future. "Who did you sign?" Shui Yuha asked, unwilling to give up. The other party had no intention of hiding it. "It's Yuan Ruola." "Yuan Ruola? Who was that?" It took Shui Yuha a while to realize that this was the artist under Chengxi. She's just a newbie who hasn't even made a name for herself. How can she take on this endorsement? Shui Yuha's heartbeat quickened, and her voice trembled. Of course she was angry. "Miss Shui, this is the decision of the higher-ups. I can't do anything about it. Let's work together again next time." The other party's tone was polite, but Shui Yuha could tell that something was wrong. She quickly restrained her tone and hung up after exchanging a few pleasantries. Chengxi. Shui Yuha's eyes were red. She still managed to find a way, and even managed to hook up with Igor. Igor was backed by the Lin family. The Lin family's carnival entertainment was much better than her current company. The more Shui Yuha thought about it, the angrier she got. She could not let her make a name for herself again. She opened Weibo and saw the things on Shisheng's Weibo. Her expression turned ugly. After the press conference for Celestial God, her homepage was filled with videos. She did not even notice the interaction between her and Igor below. She was still at the press conference at that time. ## today. I'm begging for a ticket for lunch ## double monthly ticket ##. Why don't you vote during the weekend #. Chapter 1429. At the opening ceremony of God, Shisheng brought Yuan Ruo to the set. Most of the people in the set were flattering the powerful and stepping on the weak. These people didn't treat them well. To put it bluntly, they were just short of throwing a tantrum. Sister Chengxi. Yuan Ruola tugged at Shisheng's sleeve timidly. This is the path you've chosen. You've chosen the world you want to enter. Take a good look. Shisheng pushed her hand away. If you don't want to be treated like this, then work hard to climb up. When you're above them, no one will dare to throw a tantrum. Yuan Ruola was speechless. Yes, this was the path she had chosen. She couldn't back down. Yuan Ruola took a deep breath. Although she tried her best to hide the timidity in her heart, she was still young after all. It was easy to see through her expression. Shisheng arrived early with Yuan Ruola ignoring the staff's attempts to stop them. They directly occupied a lounge. If she had arrived late with this naive girl, there probably wouldn't even be a public lounge. How can you be so shameless? Miss Ku and Mr. Du haven't arrived yet. The staff stood outside and angrily rebuked Shisheng with a red face. Shisheng blocked the door. What does it have to do with me whether they're here or not? I have to wait for them? Who do they think they are? The staff frowned and disdainfully said, Who do you think you are? Why don't you look at yourself in the mirror? You want to use a private lounge? It's none of your business. I want this lounge today. Shisheng raised his eyebrows with a look that said, What are you going to do about it? Sister Chengxi. Yuan Ruola cautiously called her from behind. She was still a newcomer. Wasn't it bad to offend people like this? However, Shisheng ignored her completely. He quickly threw out the staff who kept talking about Ku Peixin and Duye Yuan, and slammed the door shut. Shisheng looked at Yuan Ruola calmly. According to your current status, you really can't have a private lounge, but she raised her chin slightly and said, Remember, I'm your manager. My resources are your resources. I don't mind if you rely on me to get to the top. The only thing is don't play any tricks. If I can get you to the top, I can naturally get you to come down. Yuan Ruola was stunned when she heard this. What was going on? Shisheng took out his phone and sent a text message. Soon the staff outside stopped. After that, no one came to kick them out. Yuan Ruola looked at Shisheng strangely. What should my manager do? She's online. She's very anxious ## answer. Hold on tight Yuan Ruola was reading the script in the lounge. In fact, she wasn't paying attention to it at all. Her ears were pricked up to listen to the movements outside. When she heard the sound of an argument outside, she stood up quickly. Shisheng was startled by her. His hand slipped, and his character died. What are you doing? *CK. I almost killed 100 people. Shisheng looked at Yuan Ruola angrily. Have you finished reading the script? Got it. Yuan Ruola pointed outside anxiously. Sister Chengxi, there seems to be an argument outside. Why are you still concerned about killing 100 people at a time like this? Shisheng rolled his eyes. Let them argue. What does it have to do with you? Do you have nothing better to do? Yuan Ruola was intimidated by Shisheng's calm demeanor. Her manager was a little arrogant, but no matter what she did, she had never failed. She should trust her. As Yuan Ruola thought this, she slowly sat back down. Strangely, she calmed down. Bang bang bang. Very good. Her mood, which had just calmed down, was now fluctuating in an irregular curve. Yuan Ruola was so scared that her limbs turned to jelly. She couldn't get up and could only look at Shisheng pitifully. What should she do? What should she do? They're here to cause trouble. Shisheng went to open the door with his phone in annoyance. A group of people surrounded the door. Shisheng held the door. What are you doing? Do you want to fight? Everyone. What fight? The scene became strangely quiet. Ku Peixin, who was surrounded by a few people, walked in from the back. Chengxi, I heard that you've taken a lounge for yourself. Are you blind? Ku Peixin. After not seeing her for half a year, this woman's words had become so unpleasant. In the past, Chengxi was capable, but she had done more than she said. Ku Peixin took a deep breath. Chengxi, your artist is just a supporting actress. What right does she have to take a single lounge? The lounges are all allocated. Now that you've taken one, do you want Mr. Du and Mr. Jiang to share one? Du Yayuan was the male lead, and Jiang Su was the supporting actor. Jiang Su was as famous as Du Yayuan. The male and female leads, as well as the supporting actor and supporting actress, were all big shots, so they were all allocated single lounges. Now that Shisheng had taken one, there were only 3 lounges left. If I say there is, then there is. You're unreasonable. Ku Peixin reached out her well-maintained hand. Do you think you're still the Chengxi from before? You don't even have a company now, yet you dare to be so arrogant. Aren't you afraid that you can't survive in this industry? Shisheng raised his eyebrows. If I can't survive, then I won't. Ku Peixin. Everyone looked awkward and conflicted. They had thought that Ku Peixin had defeated this woman, but who knew that she could shut Ku Peixin up with just a few words? It wasn't that Ku Peixin was weak, but that she was simply impossible to respond to. She was indeed a big shot who could argue with anti-fans on the internet. Ku Peixin hated the woman in front of her. So many people were criticizing her, but she acted as if nothing had happened. If it had been anyone else, they would have cut their wrists and committed suicide. Just as Ku Peixin was about to rush up and tear that woman's face apart, a staff member hurried over. Miss Ku, we've made a new lounge. Please don't fight. What right does she have to take a single lounge? Ku Peixin was furious. The staff member glanced at Shisheng, who was looking at them with a smile. He immediately felt a chill run down his spine. He looked away and smiled apologetically at Ku Peixin. Miss Ku, this is what the higher-ups have agreed to. Who knew who she had hired as her backer? What could they do now? Ku Peixin seemed to have heard some big news. She covered her mouth exaggeratedly. Chengxi, whose bed did you climb into this time? I didn't expect you to be so capable. The people around them immediately pointed at Shisheng and whispered among themselves. From time to time, Shisheng could hear some words clearly. Shisheng narrowed his eyes. He suddenly went forward and grabbed Ku Peixin's arm. Under everyone's incredulous gazes, he threw her to the ground. It was as if someone had pressed the pause button. All the sounds disappeared and the world fell into a dead silence. She actually dared to hit her. Shisheng clapped his hands, and the crisp sound broke the dead silence. He placed his hands on his hips and looked down at Ku Peixin, who had yet to react. Do you still think that I'm the same Chengxi who is easy to bully? That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.